I am not confident right now. I'm sorry I'm starting this way. I hate when I start this way. There is so much to talk about. Lucy, I think, Dan Marino thinks she is stalking him. I don't have time at the moment to get to that.
Wow.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't
I'm not, by the way. I'm not.
I know. I'll get to that in a second. We have to get to that.
That's what a stalker would say, though.
That is what a stalker would say.
You got me there, damn. I don't have a comeback for that.
Okay, it is a wildly interesting day in the industry because Shannon Sharp has gotten to the top of the podcast game, and he's fighting with Mike Epps, and this is great for business. And Simmons is fighting with McAfee, and McAfee is fighting with Simmons, and the whole industry's changing, and Nick Wright's showing up to work in a truck with a red suit because he's a Chiefs fan, and he zigged when everyone else was zagging. He just doubled down all his bets on LeBron is great, Patrick Mahomes is great, and everyone will move far away from me, and Nick Wright wins. He is going to get paid so much money in this economy. But because everybody just got back from the Super Bowl and everyone realized it's all brands, all brand management collapsing against each other. Here come Bert and Segura selling vodka to McAfee. Like it's the podcast games and wars all came the economy there where the gambling was, and we all threw a giant party. And in the middle of it, the star was not shirtless Bert Kreischer. They're worried he's got a drinking problem. It was Greg Cote. And he knows it. And he knows it. He's not.
And you know it.
He's not here on time today. Stugotz still smells like Vegas.
Vegas won. I mean, no one won more than Las Vegas. I am telling you, everyone is exhausted. We spoke to Austin Eckler yesterday, Dan. That guy has more energy than anyone. He was exhausted. He did an appearance at Albertsons.
Stugotz, the color of your skin looks corpsey. Am I wrong about this? Vegas does seem to have beaten him in.
Where's my dad?
Where is your dad?
Let
me tell you what's happened here. First of all, it's gone to the head of one of the members of Hee Haw 3, whether it's he or Haw over here. They gave their exclusive first interview after killing Vegas to the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote. So he wants to come in here and relive his big conquering of Vegas, and I can't get in his way. He was the star. He kicked Vegas's ass. He flogged Vegas.
And how does he respond to us with it? By showing up late the first show back.
Well, he's a star.
Yeah, but, remember how you got there.
I believe it's a holdout.
Where is he here yet or is he not here yet? Because the other part I've got the problem with today that makes me most scared is that Billy's in charge.
Don't you guys ride a train? Like, how are you guys late?
Nah, the Bright Line switched its time, so now we're back to driving.
He's waiting for his limo.
Look, guys, this is what I'm saying, okay? I had an emotional breakdown over the last 2 years that concluded with Mike Ryan throwing a Super Bowl party and then quitting his job. And now Billy's in charge.
Well, I didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask for any of this.
Yeah,
attaboy.
You literally did not ask for any of this. The executive producer position has been open, and who got in? The child of privilege, the Nepo baby, snuck in.
I work hard.
Took everyone else's job.
I come here.
And today you're in charge. Why are you in charge?
I don't know. Mike needed a break from doing whatever he does.
Because he's fried? Because he's fried, whatever it is he does. Well, what he would say he did is launch the careers of the Las Vegas band on his last act as punctuation. That he wanted to quit executive producer after making the musical, so instead he made Greg Cote the musical. Hee Haw 3 performing for Wu-Tang, Wayne Newton, and Flavor Flav introducing him.
Yeah, let's make it clear. Not performing for Wu-Tang. We are now members of Wu-Tang, Dan.
That did happen. That happened in front. That was certified. That's notified. That had a notary on it. Jeremy, explain to people why you are now an official member of Wu-Tang, unlike one of the people who I think was on that stage, DJ Mathematics, who I was told was on the stage, may or may not have been on the stage, but he is not an official member of Wu-Tang. And why are you looking at me like that?
Well, he was on the stage. I mean,
but Jeremy is.
Oh.
I don't know if Mathematics was on the stage. I'm still not sure who was on the stage.
Mathematics isn't a member of Wu-Tang? That doesn't add up. Anyway, I am a member of Wu-Tang because we played a pretty great tribute.
No, not
That's
gotcha.
not right.
It's the wrong one.
Billy, I hit loser game show sound.
You're blaming Billy, huh?
It was Billy's fault. Billy?
He didn't ask for any of this.
I mean, that too.
That that works.
So Billy's in charge. Billy, you rule with an iron fist.
I got it.
Where's Greg Cote?
I don't know.
Okay, we need him in here because it's all gone to his head. Jeremy, you did. I'm sure this will be the most downloaded episode ever of the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote because he had the star exclusive access to Yeti and Jeremy, who are the members of
Tough gets, honestly, for us.
Well, he really just got Jeremy because Yeti's on every week anyway. So Jeremy,
it was tough to get me. I mean, we were having a pretty good time. Yeah. Look, Hee Haw 3 is a raging sensation right now. Up to almost 400 followers on Twitter, Dan. I mean, come on. At this point, we are a rising star as a group that definitely isn't headed for a breakup.
And Greg Cote didn't want to be on Twitter. I'm telling you, that's how you do it these days. Like, I get it. You're a little late to the Twitter game. You know, Vegas, you did your own thing there without social media, but you got to ride the success you guys are riding.
No, this is it. We're already having fights over merch. That's already happening. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how these egos play out. But look, we're members of Wu-Tang now. After our tribute to them where Greg Cote sang the words, "Oh, baby, I like it raw," they officially welcomed us into the group. And I mean, at this point,
feel
come on.
sarcasm with that? I kind of felt like they weren't. That was insincere.
They stopped the interview to say, hey, let's make sure we give a shout-out to our new members of Wu-Tang right over there, the Hee Haw 3.
Okay,
I mean, come on, it's real.
This part is important. Video, I ask you at some point to get that because we will find out together. If there's video that's not AI of Wu-Tang notarizing Jeremy and Hee Haw 3, they can now license themselves as official members of Wu-Tang.
We already have.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
that seems like a legal battle.
They said it.
I've ever heard
They
one.
said it.
They said it.
We have the video proof. What do you mean? It seems like
is
a
it
legal
binding?
battle.
I mean, I don't know.
I heard there's also an upcoming legal battle as to who owns the name the Hee Haw 3 between Meadowlark and the Hee Haw 3.
Oh, Jesus.
Has that already started?
I've heard rumblings that's going on in the background. I don't know if that's something we're supposed to bring out on air.
Look,
but
I'm a happy employee of Meadowlark Media. I don't know what the Greg Cote Show with featuring Greg Cote is doing in regard to the Hee Haw 3, but that's a Yeti Blanc and Greg Cote issue for me, Dan. Happy member of Meadowlark.
If you are going to make Jeremy rise in this career, you are now an executive. Look at the seat.
I didn't come today thinking, how do I help Jeremy rise? If I'm going to be perfectly
Why not?
honest with you.
I've been really nice to you.
Yeah, you have been, but, you know.
We're friends.
Got to take care of Daddy first.
You're a nice guy.
Okay, but
Just wordy.
All
Thanks, Stu.
But one of the things
that's right.
that will take care of Daddy is if he builds careers for others. Jeremy is an Emmy-winning sports broadcaster. None of us have done that, and yet the confines of the industry makes it so he wants to sing and dance. And this game, look, as happy
In
as
fairness, he's not a Tony winner, okay? He can sing and dance when he wins a Tony. He's an Emmy winner. Stick to doing the Emmy stuff. And by the way, I think we can all admit this. Emmys are all into question, right? Like after that whole thing where we found out fake Emmys were being given out and awarded to people that didn't exist, and then we were just putting fake plaques on them. Like, how do we know Jeremy's Emmy is real? You know, not to be that guy, but how do we know it's real?
I mean, I did the work. I got the Emmy. My name's on it. It's not a fake name. It's my name.
Tell it to restate.
Emmy Award winner, Jeremy Tasha. Looking right in the camera.
and now he wants to be a musical star. He wants to
Grammy Award winner.
If I told him, look, man, Jeremy, if I made you, tell me what was the better feeling, performing behind Greg Cote or going up on stage and winning your Emmy?
I mean, I didn't go on stage to win my Emmy. They gave it to me because I didn't attend the Suncoast Emmys, unfortunately. I believe I was doing work for this company at the time.
Right.
But
editing.
Yeah.
Editing
things.
Company, yes.
But at the same time, I would say being on stage in Vegas, performing, introduced by Flavor Flav, having Wu-Tang Clan compliment us after a performance, like, that was one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. Thanks to the man walking in right now with his sunglasses, Greg Cote of the Hee Haw 3.
Don't take them off.
All right.
Right
all
through
right. So
every
wait,
camera
no,
shot.
wait, Greg,
He doesn't
Greg,
care.
Greg.
Mic on?
All right, just for a second. Greg, please just stop. Look, I know you are a roller coaster of emotion.
It's a million reasons why I'm late today. Nothing having to do with traffic. It's unbelievable.
Greg?
What a morning I've had.
Greg, I need you to leave the room for a second. Just leave the room. Go back. Look, he is drunk on star power right now. Just leave the room, Greg. Leave the room.
Here we
The
were
cameras,
thinking it was traffic. It had nothing to do with traffic.
No,
Okay.
no.
Just slow down for a second.
Poor Jama's stuck in there.
I'm sorry, Jama. Yes, Jama, what's happened right now is Billy, I knew this was coming in.
Hey.
Billy, he is drunk on liquor from 4 days and the rocket fuel of ego that is he thinks he's a star now.
He is a star.
He is.
Yeah, he's a star.
Yeah.
And so he just rolled in here and he was told, and he's got to slow down because he's too big for this show now. He's got to come in and stand behind me and put his headset on. He barreled in here in front of the cameras because he can't wait to talk about himself and the fact that he's been stuck in traffic and has been denied these 5 minutes
No
to talk.
traffic.
It wasn't traffic.
Yeah.
He told us that. That's what we did here.
Greg, please come in here more slowly. Chris, walk him in by the arm. Just drag him to the place like you're walking him to career hospice, please.
As he had to do in the airport because of how drunk he was.
Just gently, because
Career hospice. His career is just taking off.
Right.
Oh, there he goes, right in front of the cameras again.
Third time. The Hattie.
all right. Look,
The problem with this is that we had a bit set up, and now it doesn't make any sense because
There's a
we
lot
didn't walk
going on.
this through. Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
this is the difference between the bit and real life, Billy. Yes, you guys had something set up, but I knew he was going to come in dying to talk about himself. And you guys have to produce him because all he wants to do right now is do an interview about how special that week was to him. It's what he wants to do for 4 hours.
I have top 5 Greg Cote moments from Las Vegas from last week.
I want to hear it.
Only 5?
I can do 10 if you give me a minute. Okay.
Take your time.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
wait.
And Dan, you need to understand, it is hard for Greg Cote, because he's such a big star now, to get from, station A to station B. It's hard to get place to place. I mean, the fan club, the fanfare, autograph seekers, you know the deal.
So Greg, wait, just to be clear, If he gives me a top 5 Greg Cote moments from Vegas, you think you're going to be able to give me a different 5?
Probably, yeah. And one of them would be this morning because I have to tell you, I apologize for being late. My PA promised me that I would be here by 8:30, but it's Hee Haw 3 Day in Miami-Dade County. The mayor had a ceremony for me like an hour ago. Government runs slow. The mayor, he talks forever. I got the
I wasn't
gigantic
invited,
key
Greg?
to the city. I'm sorry, Jeremy.
You going off as a solo act here from the Hee Haw 3?
They just wanted me. I apologize.
This is unbelievable.
Key
Jeremy,
to the city, huh?
Touche Taché, valuable member of the Hee Haw 3, by the way.
Thank you.
We love you, Jeremy.
Who owns Hee Haw 3?
For sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cent. All right, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, you know what? I actually like when you do sing that. People, I've got to back up for a second, okay? Because
Slow down.
I've been too aggressive. My friend, the star of Hee Haw 3, Greg Cote and the Hee Haw 3, even though there are only 2.
There's 3, technically.
Well, no, but Greg Cote and the Hee Haw 3.
Right. Well, it sounds better than Greg Cote among the Hee Haw 3.
He's pulling double duty. He's both Greg Cote and one of the Hee Haws.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why he gets more of the cut.
Really
There's a
nailed
theme
that.
there.
No,
Right. Nailed it.
no, I thought there was only one he and one haw.
I am the Ha. They've been treating me more like a he, but I'm a Ha.
There's only one haw and one he. There are not 2 he's and a haw. It's Greg Cote and the Hee Haw 3.
There's a he, a haw, and I'm the 3.
And the Greg.
Well, for what it's worth, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, there are only 4 members there. So it's Frankie Valli is one of the 4 Seasons.
Right.
So Greg Cote is one of the Hee Haw 3.
Exactly.
Let's get it right.
Zagacki.
And they followed us, by the way.
All right, so he's a big, giant hit in Vegas, and I'm sure this is going to be his most downloaded podcast ever, The Greg Cote Show, featuring Greg Cote with exclusive access to members of Hee Haw 3, their first interview since hitting global musical stardom.
That's correct, yeah.
But you have been, for 3 days, weepy emotional, and I want his top 5 list, and then I want your top 5 list, because we're going to celebrate Greg Cote today, because he deserves it. Because a 69-year-old sports writer dominated Vegas entertainment.
Nice.
I mean, come on. Come on. Are you me? Are you me? Wayne Newton, Wu-Tang, and Flavor Flav came to genuflect because Greg Cote likes it raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. All
right, we got it.
Yeah, baby, I like it raw.
So good.
Do you have any OLIs, Stugotz, or is it just going right to it?
I just have a straight 5.
Number 5.
After eating, some of the most delicious fried rice I've ever had, Greg told me he was going to recreate that dish at home, and he called himself Chef Greg.
That's his move. Anytime he has a dish that he really likes, I'm going to recreate that. That fried rice was amazing.
I bought the brisket already. I did.
Interesting.
It's in my freezer.
Try to risk it to get the brisket, am I right?
Thank you,
Damn
Billy.
right.
Excellent work. Number 4.
Greg and Yeti leaving the bar early on Thursday night because Greg wanted to rest his vocal cords for Friday's concert.
You have to.
Well, Yeti.
Yeah, Yeti was also
Yeti.
being a bit protective. And by the way, didn't invite me to leave the bar to protect my vocal cords. And one of us had a solo on Friday.
Yeti wanted to protect your vocal cords.
It honestly
my
felt-
dad didn't want to leave.
It felt like it was like a conservatorship or something. Like he was
That's
like,
kind of what the whole week felt
No,
like.
but it was like we were there, and then Yeti was like, "Well, Greg's got to go," and then like Greg is there, and he's like throwing it back because he's having a good time because he's Greg Cote, and you know he just had a great show. And he's like, "Greg, we need to go now to rest your vocal cords," and Greg was like, "Yeah," and he's like, and then he just ushered him away, seemingly against his will.
It's because Greg Cote slingshotted Yeti to musical stardom where he was performing before Wu-Tang and Wayne Newton. And he's got genuine musical talent, unlike the Codys.
My team wanted me out of that bar because, you know, when I drink too much beer, it affects my voice. I go down a quarter of an octave, which on the professional level means the world. You know, it means I can't quite get up to the key I need. And long story short, my staff just really wanted me back in the hotel that night.
That's as drunk as you've ever seen him, Chris?
After the show Friday, I
At
was
the end of
about as
that,
drunk as
is
I
that as drunk? Was he drunker than when he knocked my brother's paintings off his first art exhibit?
For me, the most drunk I've seen him was the bush. When he fell into the bush outside of my mom's house, that was up there.
He could have fallen into a bush at the end of that night, and you wouldn't have been surprised. Your father was weepy drunk at 5 p.m. that night.
The scariest part of that day was going to the airport. I have TSA pre. My dad does not. Of course, I'm not going to not go through TSA pre. So I had to leave my dad for like a 10-minute period of like, you go through your security, I'll go through mine. I'm like talking to him like he's a child. I'm like, go through this thing. Don't talk to anybody.
This is one of my favorite things I've ever witnessed.
While he was
Chris.
drunk,
Yeah,
you just left him alone.
a very drunk Greg Cote. Well, that's also in part because we
I
forgot.
paid for TSA pre, guys.
Yeah, but we also forgot to check our bags, so we had to go back and check our bags. So we had to walk back down to the other side of the gate and leave a drunk Greg Cote off on his own. He said that when we finally got there to find him, that he was about to call somebody because he forgot
where we went.
Okay,
He was like, I was just about to call you.
right,
Where'd you go?
All right, if I may, okay, if I may. And I would not blame Greg Cote if this is how he feels right now. I have his back 100% on this. How the hell do you think Johnny Cash would leave Vegas after being the hit of Vegas?
Thank
he
you.
would do so on a bender and expect his entourage to take care of him every minute because he's the show.
Damn right.
Yes, also on a private jet.
Until things are brighter, I'm the man in black. Johnny Cash.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Johnny Cash tribute there. I am told we have, Billy, I am told we have Wu-Tang video of some sort. Do you know what this is? Is this notarizing that Jeremy and Hee Haw 3 are indeed now members of Wu-Tang?
I don't know what this is.
All right, let's see what we've got here. You tell me if, Stugotz, you sign this official. Is this them signing off on Jeremy can absolutely bill himself as an official member, unlike mathematics, an official member of Wu-Tang?
And I want y'all to make some noise for the new Wu-Tang members over here on the left side with that dirty remix of I Like It Raw. That was dope. I like that.
There was no equivocation there. Like they
members.
They volunteered it.
It's official. That was also number 3 on my list.
Oh, sorry. Number 3.
That's
okay, but that's pretty good on the list. That's pretty high. We've got 2 better than that. And Cody's got 5 he thinks are better than that.
Yes, he had a week, Dan.
Number 2.
Number 2, me and Greg Cote walking out of a steakhouse, walking into a very small private room that Joe Montana was occupying, walking out of the room, and minutes later, Greg still not knowing he was in a room with Joe Montana.
Correct. I saw him from behind, in fairness to me.
In their defense, that was one of the more confusing layouts for a steakhouse.
Yes.
I tried to go to the bathroom once, and I made like 6
Chris,
wrong
Chris,
turns.
let me explain what I learned about Vegas this trip. How am I walking past so many banquet halls to get to a room where there are super private celebrity people and people are just eating meat? Like it's through you're walking
Can
through.
you clarify that?
You're walking through galaxies of ballrooms.
So did you guys talk to Joe? Like, what happened?
No, we didn't say a word to him. I just kept telling your dad, hey, that's Joe Montana. And then minutes later, we're having the conversation, and still he had no idea it was Joe Montana.
What I'm saying is you walk through galaxies of rooms, and there's Jerry Rice having dinner with Joe Montana. And there's Greg Cote sitting next to them, not knowing he's in a room with Joe Montana.
That's because he's the biggest star.
That's correct. Where are we on this? Number one?
Number one, yes. Greg Cote being introduced by Flavor Flav as Greg Coates.
Yes, that was that he
Really
got
good.
he got the name Hee Haw 3 right, but he did not get Greg Cote's name right.
I'm convinced that was him being such a fan of the show that he knows the word combos that Chris does, and he was thinking Greg Cote and the GOAT, so Greg Cote.
Well, let's hear this. I want to replay this here because this was surreal. All of this was surreal.
Hey, yo, check this out, G, on the strip. Yo, we got Greg Cote. We got Greg Cote and Hee Haw 3.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how insane it is to have been introduced by Flavor Flav. It's insane.
So great.
All right, you don't have 5 better than that, Greg.
I got to get a pair of Flavor Flav's sunglasses, first of all. I need those, the white rims. No, I don't have 5 better than that, but I have 5 that are personal to me. Number 5 is I quickly figured out a way to get a free drink, which is right after the 2 live performances. I'm theatrically looking around for Christopher, explaining to any fans in my vicinity that I don't have my wallet. I left my wallet in the room. I have no money. I'm dying for a Bloody Mary. And people are like falling over themselves to buy me a free Bloody Mary. And so that worked well for me. Anything involving a free drink I love, and that's number 5.
All right.
How about that?
Number 4.
Number 4 is during rehearsals on Wednesday when we were going through our hit song Viva Greg Cote, and the whole crew was walking out. And I could, from 100 yards away, I could practically see the smiles on everyone's face. In that moment when we're rehearsing the most ridiculous song ever written, and you guys are walking out, that was a special moment for me.
Oh, the voice is cracking. We might be able to get some real emotion here from Greg Cote.
Oh, I'm going to be a wreck.
Number
today
3.
If you lead me there.
Number 3.
Number 3, honestly, this is hyper personal, but getting a chance to talk to Valerie a lot, and personally and privately, one-on-one, at that after party Friday was very special to me. What a wonderful woman. I got to know her a little bit better, and much to my delight. So that was number 3.
How do you remember that? You were hammered at that point. You had been weepy from drinking too much with Frank Thomas the night before.
The big hurt.
And that's good vodka, by the way, FT35. That's fantastic. But the vice president of operations of the Circa, the wonderful Circa Resort and Casino, he also was buying me free drinks.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Let me tell you, back in my day, we respected the game. You know what? I messed up the lyrics on that because I don't have my I don't have
Your
my
teleprompter?
scroll. My
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
teleprompter.
All right,
Yeah.
so look.
I'm nervous.
All right, he's been unmasked. Okay, this is what's just happened here. I'm going to explain to the audience. It was very simple. They were counting him in, and he was supposed to sing a song. And then the pressure arrived, and he choked, and he forgot all the words to his hit song.
The hit song.
Okay, but Billy, okay.
I'm surprised he didn't start doing bra-da-da-dee, bra-da-da-dee.
It would have been better. It honestly would have been better.
I got a thing.
Billy, all right.
Greg, the idea today was that you were going to be the musical guest, kind of performing in and out of breaks. You're going to be a Paul Schaefer of sorts.
We were going to be able to recreate what we got in Vegas. Now, this is where it gets unmasked, though. People don't see how much Hee Haw 3 we're doing to prop Greg Cote up. How much
Prop me up.
Other way around.
No. I heard Yeti whispering to him so gently.
5, 6, 7, 8.
I mean, no, Yeti.
You say whispering gently. A little heavy-handed.
Okay.
The mic even picked up him saying, "Go, start."
Okay, look, Greg Cote needs a lot of help, but he's the star, and no one here disputes that he's the star. No one. He rocked Vegas and deserves every accolade he gets today.
I think Yeti's trying to point out, though, and he did so several times over the weekend, that, hey, I'm the reason for Greg Cote's success. I mean,
I don't think he ever pointed that out, did he?
Privately.
Yeah.
A couple people he pulled us aside.
Really?
He said, Greg
He
would be
doesn't
nothing
say
without
it.
me.
No.
He doesn't
Yeah.
say it, but he does enough. He wants you to say it.
Yeah, he's looking for it.
Well, Yeti is the musical director of the Hee Haw 3 and my personal voice coach, so I am going to give him some flowers here.
Okay.
Some people
The man
said-
behind the man.
Some people said you'd be nothing without him. Did he say that?
Well, they're wrong.
I'm not
He
the
may
one
have
to
said
say.
that,
I'm
yeah.
not the one to say that.
Greg, we interrupted you in the middle of number 3. Do you remember where you were?
I don't remember number 3. I think I finished with it. I don't know.
it was Valerie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. You
Yeah.
talked to my wife for a while. Well, no, I
beautiful
wanted to
thing.
go back here for a second because at that point in the evening, you were rip-roaring drunk from 2 straight days of partying and living hard in Vegas and crushing Vegas. You had liquor on your breath. And Chris Cote, you're telling me he had a lot more to drink after that he was mixing and matching and he was going crazy. It was a full – you've never been on a bender like this through Vegas with your father.
Never been on a bender with like that. I had to stop drinking. He was so drunk. I was like, both of us can't be showing up to the airport like this. Jeremy's like, we can't – because Jeremy was on our flight. It's like Jeremy's going to be in charge of these 2 idiots. So I was like, you know what? Water's for the kid. Gonna have a nice sad burger at the diner at the airport, and drunk Jess and drunk Greg are gonna keep partying. And I'm just gonna make sure that Greg gets to his. And did my dad get the best sleep of his life on that flight?
Oh, my God. It was like a 19-hour flight. I slept the entire time, didn't get up once to go to the bathroom.
This guy's a monster. He doesn't need any neck pillow. He doesn't. This is how my dad sleeps. This is how my dad sleeps on a plane. Ready?
That's right. Chin on chest.
Chin on chest.
Oh, yeah.
Eyes shut the entire I know
right.
eyes shut would be weird if his eyes weren't shut, but
Eyes wide open.
Chris, back in his day, that's the only option he had.
I'm looking back for a belly moving. That's all I'm looking back for. I'm like, is he breathing? Yep, he's breathing. We're good.
Back in his day, sleep. Back in my day, a man could just.
Correct.
Your neck must be so sore after 5 straight hours of just neck straight down.
Yeah, I do neck calisthenics every morning.
No, you don't.
I rotate my neck in clockwise and counterclockwise for about 10 minutes.
Number 2.
Number two.
He's making this up on the fly.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. Number 2 was the room, the production room, where the entire crew and cast would gather every day.
The room.
What's that?
Just the room.
It's a room.
No,
It's-
you know what?
It's like a banquet room.
You know what? I'm
with him.
I'm gonna endorse this. No, that's our crew. That's our company. That was 40 people put together a month. Man, we went to Vegas and had the biggest, best thing. Everyone could see it. Like that room put that together. So he was grateful. You have a better moment than that because I'm right there with you on that one.
I was super grateful. John was our stage guy. He took care of the Hee Haw 3, and he's probably tired of me complimenting him so many times in Las Vegas on how much we appreciated him in particular.
No love for Fuentes, huh?
Everybody was great, but John was the one I was dealing with directly. If there was any problem, if there was any question, he was right there.
He was your go-between. He was your
He
management.
really was great.
He
We heard from him multiple times.
Greg, you wanted a staff, and you got a staff. And
Yes.
you kicked Vegas's ass because you had a small staff.
Yep, yeah, I did. Yeah, and number one, and I could talk about this all day, and I would get very emotional doing so. But number one was the performance of Lovely Cruise, which I consider to be an opus moment in my life and in my career, because the lines blur between what's my life and what's my career, because I'm so grateful to work with my friends, to work with my son. So work feels like real life type thing. And that moment to me, I was pretty nervous about hitting the first note. And when I started off on key, Yeti gave me a little smiling nod like I was good because he was worried about me on that song. But I think I performed it as well as I can. And I think I rose to the moment. I felt very proud and just beyond happy as that song was playing out.
How many times have you watched it?
100,000 times.
100,000.
100,000.
Yeah, 100.
Honestly, so have I.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was terrific. I really enjoyed it.
That's going to be
kind of
hard to
thing.
beat, Stugotz. That was pretty cool.
I mean, The Room was number 2.
He's right. It's
When he
just-
said The Room, I lost track of what are we even counting down?
It was a banquet hall and some sandwiches.
Was this
It
places
can't-
you
it
went
can't be The
in
Room.
Vegas?
Well catered.
It can't be The Room. Was it well catered?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Sunches.
I didn't eat much. I would have liked a little tub of beer on ice in the room, but I get it. I get that.
You should have put in your writer.
I should have, yeah. I didn't drink until after the show, which is probably why I performed so well if I did.
It was 7 a.m.
That's fair.
Do you guys realize that at some point in the future, if this company succeeds with whatever it is that song made him feel, because I'm going to say it was love, because that's what I felt and feel for him all the time. Yeah. So my brother passed away recently, and this man has been our brother throughout. A teacher, a mentor, one of the best friends I have ever had of any kind, who loves me dearly and entrusts the future of his family to me. So to see him do all of that in front of people and hit a song as a grateful note, because this is the punctuation of his career, and it is, I mean, it's loving. It's a loving thing.
If I'm being honest, I thought of Dave a lot during that song because the lyrics are very metaphorical, and they can stand for saying goodbye and time being too short and all that. And that's why when you were on stage with your arm on my shoulder, I couldn't look at you because I was thinking of Dave, particularly during that break. And if I looked at you, I would have lost track of the song and maybe openly cried. And so I tried to be as stoic as I could, but my heart was very full during that entire performance.
I will
Same.
I will note for the audience, I don't think that's sincere. I don't think that.
What do you mean?
I mean, he was taking your shine. He was taking your shine. You didn't feel love for him in that moment?
I did. I mean, I said same.
Greg put it perfectly.
I can't elaborate much more. I don't know if you felt the same, but I did.
If I felt, I'll tell you what I felt. I will tell you what I felt because this, I was moved several times about the absurdity of all of that and it being very much my brother's sense of humor, because the idea that you're performing for Wu-Tang and Flavor Flav is introducing you is my brother's sense of humor. Like all of that, seeing it unspool in front of me was wildly moving, but also moving from within that, talking to our fans for 4 hours afterwards and knowing how they follow us anywhere 3 hours a day, competitive streaming market, because they know I love the old man and they know the old man loves the kid. And behind us symbolically on his last day, Mike Ryan gave us that gift as like just as the sort of formative leader of this crew of ridiculous people.
Same.
You guys are putting it perfectly.
Well said, Stugotz.
What else
It's
can I
hard for him
say?
to add to that.
You know, I was in that conference room, and I was thinking to myself how much Dave loved a good conference room, and so he would have loved that conference
Yeah, he
room.
would have.
He would have.
Yeah,
There's
big
no
time.
question about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
He would have loved the sandwiches.
Great walls.
He would have.
Miss you, Dave.
The rare 3-door room.
Lucy, why does Dan Marino think you're stalking him?
I'm not stalking him.
Transition.
So, I know this feels a weird thing for me to follow, but everything's fine. I am not stalking Dan Marino. Just want that super clear. I worked an event a few months ago that Dan Marino was at, and for what I was doing, I kept having to go up and talk to him. But the people I was working with wouldn't tell him that I was like, also working this event. So I just kept going up to him. I took like 15 photos with him. He kept being like, hey, girl, what's up? And every single time it was like the same conversation. I'm like, I am just such a big fan of you, which I'm not. And so I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him.
Nothing wrong with that. No.
I'm not like,
no.
I like the way how many times I went up to him, he probably thought I was the most important person in his life. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark is not him. So I just kept going up to him. He was like, hey, I remember you. And then he was over at the DraftKings setup at Radio Row, and I was like, he's going to think I'm following. So I had to duck. I had to hide at Radio Row because I didn't want Dan Marino to think that I'm stalking him, which I am not, by the way.
You were just trying to get some influence?
I was trying to get a paycheck, which I got, and that was awesome. But I wish they had let him know that I was there for work and not just because I'm like a super Dan Marino fan, which he's fine and great and was very nice to me the 15 times I had to go up and reintroduce myself to him.
Greg, for me, going back for just a second, earnestly, it was a really cool moment to watch you do this because I'm someone, obviously, who loves theater and performing and had to try to make the choice in between performing and sports media. And I know for you, as someone who was a sports columnist, like, to be able to now have this dream of performing in Vegas, realized it had to be so emotional because it made me emotional to see you as someone in front of me.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Stugotz, there are a bunch of things that I do want to get to, but not before burying Jeremy Taché for what he just did at the end of that segment.
Yeah.
That Billy, who's in charge, seemed to enjoy. So I'm going to have to get to the bottom of what's happening here, because if Billy's going to be in charge, I'm going to need Billy to be in charge. And but I'm going to explain. But I'm going to explain not only to the audience, but you too, Billy, what happened to me at the end of that segment, lest you think that it not take just a little bit to produce me. My friend's emotional behind me on a genuinely emotional moment. I cannot see him. He's talking to me. I can feel him, but I cannot see him. Normally he'd be sitting here, and I know that if I did see him, he would start crying and I would start crying.
Same.
And if that had happened, I was worried that it wouldn't be quite as authentic as it would feel if I was seeing him eye to eye, and so I just threw the show to Lucy and her stalking story.
Good story.
And yeah, it was a good story.
you.
And she held it for 90 seconds, at the end of which Jeremy whispered into my ear, hey, Dan, I can earnestly walk the old man right into the hard net workout if you just toss me the ball from here. And Stugotz and I have told Jeremy for 6 months, you talk too much.
Oh.
You cut it up a little bit. It's too fat. And so he earnestly walks him to the break and then stumbles over the finish line. And he wants to be a performer.
Well, for what it's worth, it was a loose ball. I thought you were going to toss the ball back so I could let them know, hey, let the hard network out breathe for a second.
Right.
And then I grab the loose ball and I run. I run with it, and then Billy cuts me off with the hard network out.
What?
I am furious by this. I cannot believe what you just did to me, Billy.
He still sounds happy even when he's furious.
Yeah. He has an Emmy.
I'm happy.
The junior member
so
of the
cool.
Hee Haw 3 deserves more respect than that.
Thank
I'll tell
you,
you that
Greg.
right now. Right now.
He tried to lead you into the hard network out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Weren't you going to lead us in musically today? I thought you were going to lead us in. I thought you were here to.
He missed the pre-show meetings. because
Bright
he
light
was-
city, gonna set
there
my
we go.
soul, gonna set my soul on fire. Viva Greg Cote. Viva Greg Cote. Viva, viva Greg Cote.
So good.
I thought that we were going to lead each segment today with him singing us into the break like we were going to be a show, like a show that does things with a musical act, a rising star musical act.
Yeah, but Jeremy wouldn't stop talking, so we
Right.
couldn't
I
end the
hate you
segment with
guys.
that. Yeah.
All of you.
We're trying.
Except for Lucy.
All right, Greg,
you.
I don't know if you're going to do the whole show back there or not, but I'd like to talk about a different show because Lucy watched The Daily Show last night, and I was eager to see what Jon Stewart would do, Stugotz, because I had not even realized the dilution by degrees that has been that show with Trevor Noah, and I mean it as no insult whatsoever to Trevor Noah. Jon Stewart, an impossible act to follow. But when he came back and was the same Jon Stewart, and you're like, oh my God, this is a voice of our times. This is the comedic voice of our times in the funny space. I was delighted to hear that Lucy was just eating it up last night.
Oh, it was awesome. It was like he didn't miss a beat at all. Now, I know I'm like young, but when I was, when Jon Stewart retired from The Daily Show, I was 16. But my dad made me watch The Daily Show as a kid growing up, which sometimes felt a little inappropriate for my age, but for the most part, I'm grateful for it. So I've like grown up with Jon Stewart and always loved it. It was so natural. It was like just a reminder, like Trevor Noah didn't do a bad job, but it's so clear that Jon Stewart is the absolute best at what he does. Like there is no second place, and just it felt exactly like the old Daily Shows felt to me.
I'm not sure that Trevor Noah, who seems a kind and decent person, would object to what I'm about to say on his behalf. That he made that show that great and held up the legacy of Jon Stewart is a tribute to what a great job that he did in an impossible position to follow that guy. And he did it honorably, did it well, and the burden of it eventually is like, okay, I'm going to do stand-up. It's going to be more relaxed. It's not going to have so much politics in it. It's not going to be 80-hour work weeks grinding because nobody knows how hard it is to make those things well.
But you guys were surprised that Jon Stewart was still able to do it the way Jon Stewart has always done it?
This is perfect for a number of different reasons. He's only going to be able to do it once a week. He cannot live the life of 5 times a week being smarter than everyone else with a writer's room. John Oliver needs weeks and months off with many writers to be the smartest thing every week. Look, let me explain to you the degree of difficulty on what it is that man created as a legacy. They come into the space, they're the talk of our times, they say the smartest things best, funny and smart, fair. That's how he became the newsman of our generation, Stugotz. Like, now people are grabbing on to Chappelle and Rogan and wherever, and Russell Brand and wherever it is that they want to find they're funny. This dude in America, during a less complicated time than this one, is coming out of retirement because it's important that you hear his voice when Apple didn't want it. Apple didn't want that voice for our times. So he said, I'll do this on Monday, once a week, in the most important election year that we've ever had.
It's interesting that Lucy's into it because I've been reading that ever since he left, the age has just gone up. When he was there originally, the median age was 48, and now it got up to 63. And I feel like if we really want this show to get back, it needs to that number needs to be lower.
People need to understand that he is the standard for political commentary and comedy. There is none better. He is the best. And the fact that he has the energy that he was pouring into that Apple show, which was amazing. The Apple show was where all of his efforts creatively. Now it's going to be once a week, right up until the election. Monday night, you're going to have to watch him on wherever it is, not wait for it either. Like, he's going to guerrilla his way into the game where, okay, Bill Maher, John Oliver, you're the voices for our time. No, now I've got my team back with me that carried my legacy with Trevor Noah, and I'm going to kick your ass every Monday election night, and I'm going to do late night better than Colbert. I birthed him. Better than Oliver. I birthed him. My tree's the most amazing thing in the game, and he's coming to talk. Man, he's been fighting for veterans. He's been fighting for first responders. He's been on the right side of everything, and we trust him to be a voice during these times. I cannot wait for the next, 26 weeks of what he does with that platform.
But what does it actually mean, though? What is him being back, other than the satire around this stuff is better, it's smarter, we enjoy watching it more, but does it actually make a difference? Does it change people's votes?
Will his voice make an impact?
Absolutely.
It's a good question.
Yeah, he's like the one person where, if you look at political commentators, I know he's more of a comedian. Both sides really do like Jon Stewart, not the extreme people on either side, but he's someone who his voice and his satire just cuts through all of the bullshit that I genuinely I know people who are on the different side of the political, spectrum as I am, and they like Jon Stewart as well, just because he cuts through it all with his humor.
But what if Superman and Batman decided to only solve crimes on Monday?
Yeah. 5 days a week?
I feel like,
if it's that important.
We're leaving up a lot of time for crime.
As soon as you get to Tuesday, you're like, all right, we got 6 days.
Exactly
Let's
right.
do this.
Then the criminals just take off Monday, I would think, right?
Well,
they're not 50, though.
But he's saying things that are happening throughout the week, Billy. It's not like he's just talking about things that happen on Monday.
I know, but if the election and the times are that important and you're a voice that can impact change, then you need to show up 5 days a week.
So it's not enough for you guys.
Correct.
What I was saying, I imagine the way that he's doing this is what the 80 hours of him that Apple was getting, that again, I will remind you, in the times of today, corporate Apple said, no thanks, Jon Stewart. We don't actually want the greatest of things. Even though the television you're making here for us is amazing, we're going to have creative differences. For them to now birth a freedom that Jon Stewart can pour all 80 of those hours into making sure that his show every week is what John Oliver's show. He's about to do what John Oliver does weekly, a sprint with comedy. And the reason that he does it so well is because, Lucy, during these times, political times, screaming at people, sermonizing, morally outraged doesn't work. But if you make them laugh, if you can make them laugh because you're unerringly fair all the time and you're funny, they will just like you and they will trust you more. And I'd kind of like some news people to be people we like and trust more when one of the platforms is fake news everywhere that kills journalism, as I try to prop up the remains of his career.
In a time where you have such an issue with, you know what, Greg? You go ahead.
He's doing just fine.
I interrupted him.
Yeah.
He's a team member. I'm go ahead.
He's propping you up.
It's on me. I got to stop talking.
It was a long pause by my dad. Like
Very long
We were all
pause.
looking like,
it's
is
so
he going
awkward.
here?
I was going to weigh in on Jon Stewart because now I haven't caught up and seen Monday's show yet, okay? But I read an instant review that was actually mildly critical, and the genesis of the review was, is he too partisan for these times? Is the new Jon Stewart going to play in 2024 where he's sort of, playing both sides as a matter of
Is he too
course?
fair?
Yes. That
Is he too fair?
in essence,
No, he's saying, is he too left?
or too partisan or too bipartisan. Is that going to play in 2024 where everyone's divided and you have to take sides? That's not my opinion. That's what the review said.
That's kind of
which
what I
thought
was asking. While I find him so entertaining, I'm curious if it will make a difference.
The middle is where the vote gets decided.
I hope it's yes. I'm not saying I don't think it will be.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just in this day where everyone seems to be
Hold
so
on.
set in their ways.
What we've learned, Jeremy, especially since the last time Jon Stewart was on doing this show 5 days a week, is people are far from the middle. A lot of people are far from the middle.
But that's where the
There are
actual
extreme
election
lefts
gets
and
decided.
extreme rights.
Right, but
Yes.
those people exist, and they're 40% on each side of it, and then there's a 20% in the middle. And those people are ultimately the ones who will swing this election in particular, where you have Biden and Trump going against each other, who both have the exact same approval rates. So ultimately, Jon Stewart can make as much of an impact as anyone in this sphere by being bipartisan.
Billy, you seem to be making faces. Is Jeremy talking too much?
Nah, he's doing his thing. He has an Emmy.
I really tried to get out of there quick.
Yeah.
I had so much more to say.
That was good.
You should have just talked. No one knew that Greg was trying to talk on the audio front. No one saw his hand.
Greg, are you out of material back there? I usually do the show through you. Are you going to sit here at some point? Or
You
are
got to
gonna
invite
keep
him to the desk, Dan.
Oh,
That's
you
part
think?
of being a
As
musical
big,
guest.
Okay,
Exactly
let's
right.
do this. Do me
I
the
could sit.
favor. Can we? Let's
nice
stay.
of you.
Let's
Thank
give
you.
him a bonus YouTube segment here. Where
what?
Greg Cote. Yes, you heard me.
Oh,
We're
boy.
going to go. That's right. Well, you're in charge now.
Well, it doesn't sound like it.
Greg Cote sings us into. He was supposed to be here. Greg, sing us in the way that you would normally sing us in if we had done this correctly, please.
Love, look at the two of us.
Vegas.
Too much beer last night, huh?
Yeah, my voice is spent.
Take it from the top.
I'm telling you, I have no top. That's the problem.
Start again.
Love, look at the two of us.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Greg Cote, you want to sing us in? You want to sing us in as if we're doing a bonus segment here for YouTube?
Drink it up. This one's for you. It's been a lovely cruise. I'm sorry it's ending. Oh, it's sad, but it's true, honey. It's been a lovely cruise.
That's why he's the
Excellent.
star.
These moments were left.
That's
with-
on.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank
sorry.
you.
No,
Encore.
Thank you all.
No, keep going.
No, I'm sorry. Please keep going. I
We
didn't mean.
interrupted
I
you,
didn't
yeah.
mean to
The
interrupt
opposite
you.
of an
We'll
encore.
Kind of a long pause again.
remember these moments are shared by few of those harbor lights. Oh, they're coming into view. Honey, it's been a lovely cruise. boy, I really did leave my voice in Vegas.
That's all right. That's
Wow.
it. You left it all on the field.
Yes.
I mean, there's no look. What a performance! A tour de force for one solid week of living his best youthful life. He conquered Vegas. Look, Greg Cote. Can you guys get me the sound of him on stage? And this is when we started to witness the descent. I believe he was complaining about his wife on stage and not missing his wife. Now, keep in mind, he's.
My wife and I had to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I had to explain it was just a bit.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
wait
bit.
a minute. It's not just a bit.
You know, you walk that fine line.
All right, listen. This was a moment of unbridled, uncommon honesty.
I am wondering, though, because Greg left as Greg and came back a big star. Is she looking at you differently, Greg? I mean,
yeah, for sure, yeah. I think she's a little resentful. It's weird coming back down to earth, though. You know, one day, literally performing live on stage in Las Vegas, and the next day I'm in the pet aisle at Publix, asking a guy why my brand of dog food isn't in stock right now.
Right.
And so, you know, it's a down-to-earth moment. You know, the paparazzi, obviously, were following me into Publix, so there wasn't a private moment for me. But, you know, it was just weird having to come back down to earth. You know, I asked my PA to get the dog food for me, and she just wasn't available at that time because she was making that arrangement for Hee Haw 3-Day in Miami-Dade County this morning, the thing we had. And so, you know, it's been hectic. It's been hectic.
Right,
I will say I agree with him. The dinner at home after Vegas is always sad. It's like this hamburger helper just doesn't slap the same after a week in Vegas.
Billy?
I like my family. I had a nice time when
No,
I got home.
I didn't say anything about my family. The dinner, though. That first home dinner. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just this like packaged hamburger helper.
Sure.
Can you guys just get me the sound, though? This was Greg Cote at Maximum Relax. Keep in mind, we were there for the ascent. Chris, this is fair. An ascent into superstardom. He rocked the Super Bowl. Everyone took notice of Greg Cote. Greg, wait a minute. What's that noise over there downtown? The coolest place, downtown Vegas. What happened? Surrounded by live music at the biggest party, Greg Cote. Greg Cote won the Super Bowl, and then he immediately forgot about his wife and everything that got him there.
Are there any good Greg Cote stories not told by Greg Cote about Greg Cote before we get him out of here?
I have a couple, but I'm not telling them.
Baby!
That's my guy. That kind of thing, you know what I'm saying?
We don't.
No, you know what? I hadn't left the hotel until last night. I'm a very quiet man.
Yes.
You know, I'm a married man. I don't cheat on my wife, despite that gratuitous line back in my day. That I wrote. You know, I wish you were here, my wife. I really miss her. No, I don't. That's the thing about being married. You know, you're not allowed to say, I don't miss my wife. I've been gone 2 days. I haven't been gone long enough to miss my wife. I'm sorry. I call her. I'm on the phone with her for 30 seconds. You know, what am I? Hello. All right. We'll see you. All right. And then, you know, I'm going to see her in 2 days. I was jumping Charlie. Good. And that's it.
That kind of thing.
Exactly. That kind of thing.
So you miss her or you don't miss her?
Make up your mind.
I miss you. You know, I wish you were here. You know, but no, I mean, come on.
Yeah, no.
I've been married for like 40 years, 43 years. Why? I'm allowed to be away from my wife. And you know what? She doesn't miss me, I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. It's a break for her. She's on vacation without me there. Are you kidding me?
And you know it.
Baby, and you know it. And you know it.
Baby, and you know it. And you know it. Baby, and you know it.
And you know it,
baby, and you know it.
How's Jumpin' Charlie?
and you know it,
Baby, and you know it.
How's Jumpin' Charlie was the greatest of the emotional intimacies he shared with his wife.
How's Jumpin' Charlie? Good.
What more are you going to say? I talk to her every day of my life.
Right.
You know, 2 days without talking to her wouldn't be a crime, but you have to call. You know, there's that obligatory call.
You have to call.
Yeah.
I will say, since we're getting emotional and perhaps Greg Cote doesn't realize this, no one enjoyed the absurdity more of you getting videos of you on that screen singing those songs, radiant, as happy as she's ever seen her man than your wife. I was sending her secret videos of all of that. And I will say this to the audience and to Greg Cote, the only reason that woman tolerates this fool is because he's funny. The only reason.
And the sex.
Whoa.
Baby.
Baby. Hey, that kind of thing. I'm talking about that kind of thing.
How many times do I have to tell you to move a little further back from your mic? That's too far.
It's Greg, bitch.
Splash. He's a new man.
That felt like a Lewis line.
That's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt. It's Greg Bitch with this persona right here.
And the sex.
That's an attitude. that is an attitude. You are telling others. Do you know what you're telling others about yourself when you give them this photo and I'm Greg Bitch? Only he can navigate these tough political times.
That's right.
He should be on instead of
Everyone
Stewart.
knows what he means. There's nothing behind the word bitch other than he's Greg.
You got that right. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Do you have one this week?
Do you have
no.
one? Why don't you have one?
Tuesday after Vegas,
Yeah.
Dan. Everyone knows.
Quality
Right.
control, yeah.
You know, what stays in Vegas stays in Vegas,
not
or
how
whatever
it
that line is.
Next
So
week's
my back in my
President's
day
Day, it's a
stayed
whole
in
thing.
Vegas. Hee-haw 3, my damn.
He's right. So do you want him to sit there or just keep doing whatever he's doing?
I like him up there.
Well, if I may, okay. If we're gonna get to,
Are we going to do normal show or we're just going to have this the whole time?
Okay, no. I'm gonna go.
I'm so tired of this character already.
I think it's going great.
Look at the smile on his
Well,
face.
you would, Billy, and this is why everyone fears putting you in charge.
Splash.
You let Jeremy ramble. You let
Come
him.
on.
You let him come in here whenever he wants.
Hell yeah.
He won an Emmy, Dan.
And you've got Greg Cote behind me. The key to this show is chemistry. You've got him behind me the entire show, and he wants to talk seriously about himself and how wonderful he was this week. Like, he doesn't want it to all be jokes. I'd say the only frustration that Greg has with me over, I don't know how much of our friendship is that he doesn't get to show his serious side more often, where Tony Kornheiser gets the best of him there because we're always jostling him into the clown position around here because his wife loves him the same way that I do. He's funny as the clown.
Same.
So are you. That's right. That is correct.
Yes, sir. Who needs me? Do I emote now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Am I being serious now?
we've got 3 minutes left in the segment. There will be a hard network out. These 3 minutes are exclusive to the YouTube audience live right now. Bonus content here to celebrate you. They're going to make your podcast the biggest thing this week with the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote because you've got the exclusive interview with Hee Haw 3.
Right. Yeah, a lot of backstory on the origin of Hee Haw 3, which there may be a documentary coming up on that, but I don't want to reveal too much. The thing you did, Dan, yesterday was very kind, and you referred to the health issues I had a few years ago. And I hadn't really considered that a few years ago I would not have dared to go on stage anywhere, let alone Las Vegas, because I could not have gotten through a single song without coughing. And I don't think anybody but my wife knows how bad it got for me at one point.
No, we know. You were passing out at Highlight. We were all scared for you, Greg.
But
You're stubborn, and everyone who loves you was deeply scared for you.
What people didn't realize, though, is that there were months, there was most of an entire year when I could not sleep in my own bed. I had to sleep on the far side of the house, as far away from Erlene as possible, because she needed her sleep. And I was chronically, continually, nonstop coughing to the point of tears. And I remember, sitting up at 3:15 a.m. and saying to myself, I cannot go on like this. Graceland, my granddaughter, was very young, and she was just beginning to talk. And one of the first things she said was, "Stop coughing, Pop." And I couldn't. And I really wondered how long I was going to be around to see her grow. And to have recovered my health to a large degree right now is a real blessing. And that all came forth in Las Vegas and being able to do what I did.
90 more seconds.
I'm out of material. I mean, I could start going into detail on how bad it got for me. But the point is, thanks to medicine and some good doctors and everything,
and laughter.
Yeah, laughter helps.
Medicine more though.
Laughter,
Laughter.
Yeah.
Honestly, laughter.
Not Patch Adams.
Laughter is the best medicine. Though.
At this point, laughter's the only thing that makes him cough.
That's true. If I laugh spontaneously, that does make me cough. I pop a couple of prednisone, my magic drug, magic pill, and I'm all better.
Now we're carried away.
So laughter's actually killing you. It's the worst medicine.
That's right. Yes. When I laugh, I come as close to death as
he
I
laughs. He
possibly
starts
can.
coughing. He can't catch his breath, and then he passes out at high line. That's correct.
That's right. Yeah.
So laughter is not only medicine. Laughter is sickness.
Correct. Yeah, it's tough to balance that.
That really backfired on me spiritually.
I'm a laughing man.
Until you die.
I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
You don't have one today, though.
No, I don't. I left it in Vegas. I had a script all written. I left it on the plane when I was sleeping for 19 hours in a row. And Jess, by the way, was drunker than me that night, and she stole my water. I want that on
She
record.
did. Stole your water?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll tell
Right
that
off
after the break.
table.
Greg, what has happened to Le Batard?
Who? Yeah, welcome back to the Greg Cote Show with Stugotz. Dan may or may not be back later. We miss him. But it's funny, Ron being on here, because he'll remember this. Back before I hit big in Vegas and used to be a writer, primarily a writer.
Right.
Ron and I actually collaborated on a book called The Pride of a Lion, which is screaming up the charts.
You are struggling, my
Are
man.
you okay?
Maybe all that
It was all the standing.
all that milk and coffee really helping your throat today.
Have some laughter for that cough.
Yeah, it's Vegas. Vegas is coming back and kicking me right
And
in
the
milk. But Ron,
But the book.
Yeah, the book. Oh, yeah, Ron, you remember that book we collaborated on?
I do. It is screaming up the charts. It's been doing great. It's a bestseller. It's a editor's pick. It's all those things. Thanks to your incredible writing, which I guess now is taking the back door. I see the glasses. Is that the new Cote prop? The glasses, because I noticed them on stage in Vegas.
Yeah,
very apropos.
Right. Thank you. I've been wearing big feathered hats as well, but I left that back at the ranch.
Listen, I got to tell you, I was impressed with the notes that you hit, and you're relatively being in tune. Oh, thank you. Oh, look at Vanna White there. This is beautiful. Thank you so much, man. That's just great.
Thank you, Lucy.
But Greg, I had no idea you had those kinds of pipes. I had no idea.
I will take relatively in tune. I will take that as a compliment. I will put it in my pocket.
No, absolutely. And without any, there was no voice correction, none of that automated stuff, that auto-tune stuff they do for a lot of those artists. Yep. You were out there raw, as they say. Look at the way she reads the book and everything. You need whatever they're paying you is not enough.
And you know what?
Thank you.
By the way, Ron.
Same.
Since I wrote the book, I hadn't read the book, believe it or not, until last week. And
really?
And I read it.
You just read your book?
Yeah.
All right.
And I read, I read chapter at a time, but I didn't read the whole book cover to cover until my JFK to Las Vegas flight, which
there
was
you go.
However
it's
long.
It's a great read.
Perfect.
It's a great read.
Perfect read for a flight. It
exactly.
Really
That's exactly what I've been trying to tell people.
Yeah. No, I took your advice on that because I remembered you saying that, and it was true.
You read your own book on a flight?
I did.
That's amazing.
I know.
I mean, you should.
We thought this show was self-absorbed.
It's weird, do you read your own book? I mean, if you wrote the book, you know what you wrote, so do you actually need to read it?
Not in public.
Yeah, that was a new experience for me, though. Well, I hadn't read it in private either, so that kind of thing. You can't read it while you're driving. You got while somebody else is flying the plane.
Do you have a question for Ron? Or?
Yeah, actually, I do. I do. Ron, this interests me, and it particularly interests Stugotz, probably. New York Times had a piece under the headline, Mammals with the Munchies. And basically it said that cannabis and THC is something that more and more zoos are using. Veterinary cannabis to improve to lessen the pain, to improve the health, lessen anxiety. Does Zoo Miami do that? And what do you think of it?
I think we have used some THC, based products, not extensively to the best of my knowledge, but I do know it's in the pharmacy. And listen, it's been, medically proven to work. So the fact that it works on humans tells me right away it can easily work on animals for everything from, like you say, pain medication to appetite stimulants. So who knows? I'm not a veterinarian, so I can't say for sure, but I know that there are things in the pharmacy that have THC in them.
Any extra laying around? I mean, just curiosity.
Christmas. I got to tell you, Stugotz.
What do you mean? Serious question, Ron.
I got you. I'll look into it.
Okay.
Ron, what would happen if Stugotz did animal drugs?
Animal drugs are not a whole lot different than human drugs in a lot of ways. People don't understand that. They just sometimes have a different name or different, label, but they're very similar and sometimes identical to the human drugs that are used.
I got to get to the vet. Ron, which animal in the animal kingdom has the best singing voice?
Oh, it's got to be the birds. I mean, birds just have an incredible diversity of sounds that they can make. You look at things like minor birds, even our own state bird, the mockingbird. I mean, the different sounds when he's singing in the springtime, looking for a female, it's so melodious. It's so diversified. It's incredible. If you're talking about, the sound, you look at something like primates, some of the gibbons, the siamangs that can make these sounds, the whale, which makes the loudest sound in the world. The blue whale, I believe, makes the loudest sound in the world. So it depends how you define singing. Is it intensity? Is it how much reach it has? Or is it how enjoyable it is to listen to? I mean, for me, I could listen to the hump. Look at that. She's even showing the photographs and the drawings and sketches. Send me an address so I can send you a check because you deserve it.
All right, I will. Also,
Same.
by the way, 3 pages in, doing great so far.
We should do an audiobook, by the way.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Greg, that's a good idea.
Yeah, in your voice, because, you got the voice for that.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make sense in my voice because when I says Ron Magill, it should be in your voice. I've
been reading it in Ron's voice, so I think I wanted Ron to narrate the audiobook. Also, I got to say, I've only read 3 pages, but it says I'm on page 26. Love that.
Oh, that's great.
Makes me feel like I'm
How encouraging.
Ron, what animal has the worst voice? Like, if the animal were singing, it would just be unbearable.
Gosh. I don't know, I'm trying to think something as close to Stugotz as possible.
Well, thank you.
I don't know. I think it would probably be like a donkey, an ass of some sort.
A braying animal.
It sounds so painful.
Hee-haw, three. Like that.
Any more questions?
No, that's it. That's my brain.
You want to throw it to video, or what do you want to do here?
Yes, this is interesting to me. Kangaroo on the loose. There was a 911 call out of Tampa last week featuring a woman who found a marsupial next to her pool. Let's take a listen.
It's B-roll. We're just gonna watch it, and you're gonna talk over
classic.
it. Dad, do play-by-play.
I can't even describe what I'm watching.
Oh my God!
Well, there's a kangaroo that's jumping.
You are the worst.
Next to a pool.
I'm terrified of kangaroos.
Kangaroo has hops.
Night vision.
Oh my God!
Or he's glowing for some reason.
Night.
Ron, do kangaroos glow?
No, they don't. But that's a thermal camera, so you're getting the body heat from the kangaroo.
Looks like the aliens in Miami.
Do they swim? Kangaroos?
They can if they need to. Yes, they can if they need to. And they understand they're incredibly numerous throughout the Australian continent. As a matter of fact, they're considered pests by a lot of the Australians. This is going to sound terrible, but a lot of vehicles that drive in the outback, they have these huge bars welded onto the front bumpers of their car because they hit so many of them and they don't want to do damage to their car.
Wow.
Ron, how is it legal to keep a pet kangaroo in the state of Florida?
Stugotz, if you knew what people keep as pets in their backyard in the state of Florida, you probably want to move. It's unbelievable. Everything from kangaroos to tigers to, massive snakes. I mean, people have kept things that should never have been kept as pets.
What's the craziest pet you've seen or you've heard stories about?
Just seeing some of these, massive tigers that people have in their backyards. It's pretty amazing to me that somebody that I knew, a guy, a big caterer down here had a giraffe in his yard. I mean, a flipping giraffe. Yes, a giraffe in his yard. Okay, I'm not going to mention the guy's name because he's very well known, but he had a giraffe in his yard.
Ron, now we have a video of a chain-smoking goat, which is a sentence I never, ever thought I'd say.
That's me.
That's right. The goat of chain smoking. There's a goat in Nepal, and he appears to be smoking incense like Stugotz on a commercial break, a heater. Look at him. There he goes.
It looks like as if someone were just going up to a bunch of incense, inhaling them, and then taking a hit.
And then exhaling it. Look at this. This is incredible.
Exactly what he's doing. Listen, animals can become addicted to things just as people can. The fact that we subject animals to that for a video to get more hits is disgusting.
More hits, yeah.
This type of stuff to me infuriates me, to be honest with you. These people doing things with animals just to get more likes and all these clicks on their stupid videos on God blessed TikTok is just exploiting an animal for the sake of look at me, Louie. And that's exactly what it is.
If you handed a pack of cigarettes to an animal, would its instinct be to literally eat the pack of cigarettes, or would it be rebuffed by the smell of tobacco?
I'm not sure. It depends on the animal.
Yeah.
I know they've had a lot of chimpanzees literally smoke cigarettes just like human beings do.
Really?
Several primates. Oh yeah, absolutely, and become addicted to it. So the fact that you don't have to teach them after the first hit because they become addicted to it, and it's something they keep on going back to. The same thing. You can give sugar cubes to horses; they'll eat it till they die, and it will eventually kill them if they keep eating sugar cubes because it's an addictive thing. We can, as people, we got to be smarter than that and be a little bit more compassionate as to what we offer animals just because we think they like it. If your kid loves to eat chocolate all the time, is that all you're going to give it to him? No.
Hey, Ron, I have an adorable little cat, and he's my best friend, but he really loves jumping into cardboard boxes. Why do cats love cardboard boxes so much?
What it does is it's a safe way to kind of practice their predatory instincts. They love to lunge at things. It doesn't fight back, but it collapses, okay? It has some bounce to it. So it reinforces their predatory instincts to chase, to hunt, to stalk, and to pounce without causing them any serious damage. They're playing is what they're doing, but they're basically that play stems from that natural instinct to stalk and to hunt. And boxes, they make noise, they collapse, they slide around the ground. Cats love that stuff.
Ron, I'm catching up on this book, page 28, loving it so far. You talked about a little lion cub that got rejected by its mother. What does that even mean?
It didn't get rejected by its mother.
It said rejected her.
Wow. Well, no, she wasn't.
All right, Greg, taking liberties.
Milk. She wasn't producing enough milk because he was the only cub in the litter. He couldn't stimulate her enough to produce enough milk. So we had to augment her. But she never rejected him. She was an incredible, incredible mother.
I think this one's about a different cub because it talks about the cub before Kwasi that got
rejected. yes, before Kwasi. Oh, the first cub ever born at the zoo, yes, was rejected by her mother because her mother was a first-time mother and just didn't know what to do. She just absolutely, and that's not uncommon. In the wild, that's not uncommon, especially with first births. Animals end up dying because they're rejected as a mother who's inexperienced, doesn't know what to do.
So neither of you have read this book.
No, I read the book. I thought she was talking about.
It seems like you have. I mean,
I've read the book several times, as a matter of fact, and loved each time.
Thank you, Ron. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Keep those glasses, Cote. They're styling.
Thanks, Ron. Thing.
So earlier, Greg accused Jess of stealing his water, and she is my best pal. I do not want to betray her, but I can confirm she did steal your water. Wow. As we were going through the line to get on the airplane, which one, she went a boarding group early. That girl was wild that night, crazy.
I've learned you can do that. Just to stop you real fast, if you have confidence, you got to read the person that's doing it. A lot of times, once you get past group 2, they aren't really checking it. You just stick to the person behind you, put your phone face down over the scanner. Some people hand the phone to the person. That's where a dangerous game. You got to be confident. Put your brightness all the way up. Face down, you can make your way through. I'm telling you, you can do this.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
It's like the person that's actually doing it doesn't care, right? And they don't know exactly what group is by what group, right? Because then you don't know where the cutoff is. You say, we're by group boarding group 3 now, whatever. Yeah. I've always wondered, but I don't have the confidence to just decide I'm going to do this.
I also, go ahead.
No, I've witnessed my dad get stopped in this situation.
Ooh. Really?
And it was a nightmare.
That's what I mean.
That's my worst nightmare.
I think it depends on the worker. You got to really do your homework. Now, you got to study the person and see if they're checking phones.
There are people who take the grouping on flights very seriously. So I believe Jeremy when he says that has happened to his father because people take it very, very seriously. Now, I am confident, and I'm always a Group 1 guy. Even when I'm a Group 4 guy, I'm a Group 1 guy. I'm going on that plane first.
See, that's dangerous. I feel like Group 1, they're checking. That's the only group. Like once they get to 3, if I'm like a 5 or a 6, I'm going in Group 3. That's the move.
I'm shocked you don't go when they ask for military people.
Yeah,
to be perfectly honest.
Thought
with
about
you.
it.
Yeah. Wear your khakis to the airport just to fake them all
out. My khakis.
That's right.
Back to Jess though. I don't know. Is this
dog tags?
Is it stealing a water? Because this is how it went down. As Jess was going to reach for the water, she said, "Can I have your water?" Wow. So it's one of those things where it's a combo. She was taking it regardless, but she did say
it was already on the way back.
Can I have this? As she's grabbing it. So is that a steal?
Well, yeah, she was not waiting for an answer. At that point, she was emitting tumbleweeds from her mouth because her throat was so dry.
Right.
She could barely get out the words, "Can I have your water?" as she was grabbing it. So she needed it, man. She was, that kind of thing. Am I right?
So I have a huge update. We have been talking about different waters.
Yep.
She was taking like a glass of water from you. When we were walking through the line to get on the airport, she handed me a bottle of water saying, "This is yours." I said, "Girlfriend, that is not mine."
Wow.
And she was like, "Oh, well, I definitely took somebody's water."
The
And
rare
she
2 bottles.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
she stole multiple waters. I don't know who the second water was from there, but I think she drank it regardless.
Dad, you see the lesson here though is when you're drunk, drink water.
Yep.
This is something I had to.
Anyone's water.
I had to pin my dad down and pour water into his mouth.
You
I'm
handed
telling
him
you-
water when we were still at the
good way to
hotel.
drown.
When we were still at the hotel and he was drunk, you handed him a glass of water, and he was angry at you for giving him the water because he felt like you were treating him like a toddler.
It's just like, what am I supposed to do? And it's like, chug it.
Drink the water.
Chug it,
Yeah.
Dad.
I don't drink enough water. I admit that.
There's water and beer, right?
Yeah, like 80%. And every time I do drink water, I love it so much.
He's like, oh, man, is
Yeah.
this good?
It's like a revelation. Every time I drink water, like, where's this been my whole
You're
life?
discovering it for the first time every time?
Yeah.
Really?
Water is so great.
I think you and I had a moment where you had me dressing like a military man walking onto an airplane.
Right, like an admiral or like a general, where you rent all those stars that go across, and
I have dog tags. I have camouflage
you've got
on.
everything.
Army boots.
everything.
There's
You
literally,
got it.
there's few things you can do less than if you did that. That would be worse.
See, I don't have the nerve. If I'm in Group 2, I don't have the nerve to try to get in with the Group 1s. I just don't. I'm never more of a rule follower and a law-abiding citizen than with things that don't matter. Like, I will not get in an express lane with an 11th item. I just won't do it because I feel like people are counting my items, and I don't want to be the guy who's seen as the a-hole.
Sure.
So.
Right.
But I hate the people that line up for the gate, right? Like, those are the worst people in the world, are the people who line up, who are in Group 5 and are just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. It's infuriating.
No.
Why are you in such a rush? You're stressing me out for no reason.
There is nothing more annoying in an airport than a Group 4 person lining up for Group 1.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
It's
You're
a
right.
nightmare.
Yep,
I don't
you're getting in
understand why they do
everyone's way.
it.
Yes. Either decide you're going to be a Group 1 person or don't, okay? Even if you are a Group 4 person, get out of my way. Either get in line and hope no one catches you or get the hell out of my way.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's the way you have to handle it.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that drunk Greg or drunk Jess would have done it, because the best part is that I spoke to each of them the following morning. I was with Greg at the airport, and I said, oh, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was watching you and Jess interact so drunk. And he went, Jess was drunk? And then when I texted Jess about it and said, oh, man, Lucy and I were saying it was like National Geographic watching you and drunk Greg interact, she went, Greg was drunk? That's how drunk each of them was. They didn't even notice the other one was.
I really didn't. Even when she stole my water, I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
She has such like an easy drunk tell. Like her face is just like permanently like.
Really?
Like
So when
smirking.
she walked up, I was like, she is hammered. Oh my God. You can tell right away.
All right.
What's yours?
I'm going to file that away. I don't know. I don't know.
Slurring?
His eyes are a little closed, slurring.
Did you guys take notes on each other, just mental notes, like during the trip? Because I took notes of who was an airplane stander, because I was way at the back of the airplane, and I went to see who exactly was. I looked around and I go, who are the people that stand as soon as the airplane lands?
I got money.
In the halls.
Lewis.
Who
Tony.
is it?
Mike Fuentes was one of them.
Oh, Fuentes.
I mean, Tony's flying the plane, so.
Well, that's true. Tony has to constantly be in the aisle just in case there's a situation.
right as our plane was taking off to leave, the woman next to me was like, "Hey, I got to get up for a second." And she just went and talked to the pilot. And I was like, what's up? What was that conversation?
That's an air marshal for sure.
Like, she took her shoes off. She absolutely was not an air marshal. It was so weird. I was like, "Girl, what's going on? Is there something I need to know here?" Odd behavior.
Do you guys look for the air marshal? Are you trying to seek out the air marshal? Because I am told the air marshal rarely looks like an air marshal. That's what I'm told. Whatever you imagine an air marshal to look like, the person who looks least like that is the air marshal. How about that?
I don't think there's air marshals anymore.
Really?
This feels like one of those lies they tell us just so we feel safe. There's
So
an
we
air
feel
marshal.
more
Yeah,
secure?
there's not an air marshal in every plane anymore. Get out of here. How?
I don't know.
I don't believe that's still happening. And they tell you you're not going to know what they look like, and then you're just like trying to play the guessing game. There's no air marshals anymor. Get out of here.
I like to think that there's one there, though.
I know. Well, that's the trick.
Yeah, I do. I feel safe.
Yeah.
They should have a combination air marshal server, like Stewart, so that they can do both. Like the person giving you your peanuts and your thing is also heavily armed.
Right.
He's ready for anything.
Right.
Combination air marshal Stewart.
Heavily armed.
Yeah.
Right.
That way you have 3 or 4 on every plane.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I
Why
do.
not?
Yeah.
They should.
Heavily armed.
Yeah.
Like deep undercover.
Yeah. Hidden weapons everywhere.
Serving you a Coke,
You know,
or in your case, a Jack and Coke.
Knives in their
How about this?
ankle.
How about this? I have a way
Knives in
to
their ankle.
reinvent this. You know how when
you have them pulling out a ninja star.
Yes.
Okay.
You know how when you sit down, they ask like if you were ready to be like in the exit row?
Yeah.
How about if they just pull one passenger aside on each plane and hand them a gun? And
Selected
ask them,
at random?
Are you ready to be an air marshal
Nothing
today?
more American.
Yeah, just hand a stranger a gun.
And a couple of knives to go in your socks.
Yes.
Go like this. Lucy, are you ready to be an air marshal today?
More than anything.
Ooh, it would be great if it was a Nerf gun.
I'm
That
reading,
would make it even better.
I'm reading that there are only air marshals on 1% of flights.
Really?
That they still are in existence, but it's just impossible with over 44,000 commercial flights operating every day. It's just impossible for them to be on.
How do
every
they
flight.
choose what flight?
I don't know.
Think about how many videos we see of like horrible passengers. Don't you think an air marshal would have stepped in and be like, "Hey, girl, you got to stop singing for everybody"? That has happened on a plane before.
We should probably, I don't want to go to this because I'm enjoying the show today, but we should probably get Greg's thoughts of the Super Bowl. If you haven't.
There's time.
Kyle Shanahan, hot seat.
Yeah.
That's funny. This is probably not a revelation for me to be saying this, but I think there's no doubt now the GOAT pen has opened for both Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think that win and the way they won it, coming from behind 4 different times in the game and winning their last 3 games as underdogs, I think that cemented the status of both the coach and the quarterback among the all-time greats. You know, for me, there's not just one GOAT in a sport. It's a GOAT corral.
Right.
You know, and
a pen.
Yeah, a pen.
Yes.
And Mahomes, I feel, and Andy Reid both entered the pen of GOATs. I think they both now can say, we are elite. We are as good as they ever have been. And especially Mahomes, 28 years old,
right,
to have done what he does.
But not the head GOAT. They're just in the pen.
They're in the pen.
Right.
Yeah, they're in the pen.
I've heard a lot of people making the Mahomes comparison of like he's entering that. I haven't heard a lot of people putting Andy Reid up there with Belichick in that pen. I think people are saying in this era, he's the best going currently. But you're one of the few people I've heard of like, no. He's in the conversation now with the all-time greats.
Well, he has 3 Super Bowls. He's been to a bunch more. The problem is he never won with the Eagles, and he hasn't won without Patrick Mahomes. That's a problem for him. It's kind of like Belichick. I mean, Belichick, many people consider him to be the greatest quarterback of all.
Doesn't sound like Belichick has a real problem in that
Well,
debate.
it's almost in reverse,
he
right?
does get criticized because Brady left and made it look so easy in Tampa Bay.
But now, right? Because that's the part that's interesting is Andy Reid got to Super Bowls and didn't win them with the Eagles. But that's more success than Bill Belichick had at his other stops in the NFL.
That's fair.
And then Belichick was given the credit for creating Tom Brady for so long. But then as more time went along, we were giving more and more credit to Brady, and so now Belichick loses some of the shine. But with Andy Reid, the interesting part is he had some success at another franchise, and now that he's blessed with one of the great quarterbacks of all time, he goes to 4 out of 5 Super Bowls and wins 3 of them. So it's almost the anti-Belichick in terms of the narrative, which is interesting.
You guys just made me realize that what Kyle Shanahan is doing right now is what Andy Reid did in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
let's be careful here while we criticize Kyle Shanahan as we praise a guy who is on the same exact path that Kyle Shanahan. It's almost impossible for us to anoint Andy Reid if we're going to criticize Kyle Shanahan.
Well, why?
Because Kyle Shanahan is currently doing what Andy Reid did in Philly.
And Andy Reid had McNabb.
Andy Reid knew the rules.
That is an odd thing that people. I feel like people are misinterpreting.
I'm not going to let him slide on this. Kyle Shanahan, genius coach.
Rules.
No, Chris, he had
Juszczyk's the only guy I've heard that was like I was a little confused.
They were all confused. 28-3 offensive coordinator. Okay, he had that lead. He blew it. He had a 10-point lead against the Kansas City Chiefs the first time they played him in the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. He blew it. And then the head coach apparently did not know the rules, or he did not communicate those rules correctly to his team. That is a terrible job by Kyle Shanahan. He should be criticized today. Mike McCarthy has had a better career than Kyle Shanahan. Mike bleepin' McCarthy.
Stugotz, I'd like some guidance from you as an editor, program director on how to produce the best show. I've got for you some juicy industry talk because things are elevated. McAfee and Simmons are going at it. Shannon Sharpe and Mike Epps are going at it. And everyone's seen what McAfee has done, Stugotz. The business of it is fascinating, right? Shannon Sharpe has just gotten into the game, bang, because he saw what McAfee did and he's willing to work his ass off. Shaq is now sprucing up his podcast because he's like, oh, wait a minute, I fell behind there for a second. And all these people with power can become the Kelseys. If you've got an entertaining brand and a lot of fame and a following, we're all our own brands now. And the industry stuff that's going on has it so that Nick Wright has zigged and zagged so much with the controversial takes of LeBron's the greatest, Mahomes is the greatest, that he's at the top of the game. He's the face of FS1. He's going to get all the money from there because Bayless is throwing out there today, 2 days late. He's throwing out there, what if Kelsey were black? Wrong game, Bayless. I was playing it 15 years ago. Keep up. We didn't even bother with that yesterday. A.J. Brown tried to drag us into it. Tyreek Hill tried to drag us into it. We didn't even do that. Do you want to talk industry? Or I've got some bonus football thoughts that I think all of you are going to find interesting.
Wow. This is a tough choice. But since you're asking, I would say bonus football thoughts first, and then we get to the industry.
All right. So let me ask you this question.
Because it's rare that you have bonus football thoughts.
Really. Okay. All right. So let's see if
you're always talking about the industry. You're never talking about football.
All right. Let's see if this is valuable to you. This question I'm going to pose to you. Can you ever have a historic, one of the best ever defenses if your quarterback is Mahomes? Because what the Chiefs just did, they ransacked the number 1 offense, the number 2 offense, the number 4 offense, and the number 6 offense. No one's ever done that. The Ravens of Ray Lewis did not do that. They wrecked Rich Gannon, they broke his arm, and then they beat a 14 or a 15 offensive team. A defense has never done what the Chiefs just did in this postseason, holding those 4 offenses to nothing in the second half. So I ask you, if their quarterback had been Dilfer, would we be talking about them as the best defense we've ever seen?
Well, those teams, Trent Dilfer, the Ravens, they get best defense, that's ever played. The Bears with Jim McMahon because they didn't have a great quarterback. So it's actually a great question. I'm trying to think of the team that had the great quarterback and the great defense.
Jim McMahon for the 85 Bears was not a great quarterback. He was. I don't know. I don't know if you can have a historically great defense if your quarterback's too good.
Kyle Shanahan, the way he decided to not to take the ball first, he made it so if he would have done it the way everyone said he should have done it, given the Chiefs the ball first, then the defense for the Chiefs could have ended the game. I feel like our narrative is more with Mahomes now because he was put in that spot where he needed to go down, get the touchdown. So we forget, to your point, Dan, that this is a defensive-led team. The defense was the best unit on that team, and we forget it because
I'm
Mahomes,
not saying defensive-led. What I'm saying is history will forget how great this defense is because we're making it right now and we're talking about Mahomes.
The story was Mahomes and Andy Reid.
It's because that overtime situation
and
put
Kelsey.
Mahomes in the spot where he had to do the thing.
And Kelsey, you want to show me something mutating fame into what Kelsey has mutated it to? Don't make it with a tight end. Make it with a defense. Good luck. Make the defense that famous.
The interesting part would be if you look at the 2007 Patriots, who went undefeated, they only gave up more than 20 points 5 times that season. But they had Tom Brady and Randy Moss, and so they're known for their offense. But some of those Patriots teams, led by Belichick as a coordinator, in some ways were led by how dominant their defense was, especially at the beginning of the Brady era.
You have to have a Ray Lewis.
But it's not just that, because Ray Lewis went through, I'm reminding you what those games were. The Giants were a mediocre offense. Tennessee was a mediocre offense. Denver had a decent offense, and Oakland had the MVP, but Baltimore immediately injured the MVP of the league, Rich Gannon. And so what the Chiefs...
Denver had Peyton.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But a bad Peyton.
No, is that the same time period? Denver had a good offense that year. But the reason I'm bringing it up is only because what you just saw, because the point totals in that, it was 3, 10, 3, and 7
right.
that those Ravens allowed. But the Chiefs just did less than that. They weren't quite that good, but against the 4 of the 6 best offenses in the sport. The other thing I wanted to ask you, did the Chiefs lose a game after their temper tantrum meltdown? They complained about the officiating. That Mahomes embarrassed himself. Was it the game against the Bills that seems like a long time ago, but they were getting crushed in the media for melting down in an embarrassing fashion because they were complaining about the officiating, and Kelsey had the flip back to Kadarius Toney, and they melted down, and they were an embarrassment. A champion never behaves that way during a regular season, correct?
Yes.
Did they lose after that?
They lost to the Raiders 2 weeks later.
Right.
How do you survive what that team was, losing at home 2 weeks later? And that game, I believe, what was the score of that game?
The Raiders, 20-14.
All right, because the other stat on Mahomes I wanted to give you was he's played 96 games, okay? And 3 of them, only 3 of them, has he finished the game down more than 1 score. So basically, every game he plays in, he's in. If you included the playoffs, it's 4 of 114. He never loses by more than 1 score, and it indicates to you that he's always in the end of a game, and he's going to win some of them and lose some of them, but they're never going to lose by more than 1 score.
He's going to win most of them. I mean,
I don't like what's happening here because you're putting us in a position where we can't give one person or one side of the ball all the credit for why it is that they're so great.
Well, he's just saying this defense is going to get forgotten. It is because of Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid. He's probably right.
Do you remember the Chiefs used to be 30 points a game? How many times, Jeremy, did the Chiefs used to be every time you knew bet over 28.5, bet over 29.5, bet over 30.5 because they're going to score 4 touchdowns and a field goal?
They only scored 30 points or more 3 times this entire season, and the last time they did it was a win against the Raiders in Week 12.
I'd be interested to have an honest conversation with Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie. Do you think that there is any resentment, or it's just Mahomes is our GOAT, so I don't care who gets the credit. We're the champions. It would be funny to talk to them in a real alone.
I tried to goad Von Miller and others to say, did Brock Osweiler give you some of his $50 million contract that he got simply because you won a couple of games being great at defense? And no one would bite on it. And Osweiler was the worst.
You could make the argument that Trent McDuffie was better than Patrick Mahomes this season. Dude, those corners for the Chiefs were elite.
You could probably make that argument.
Mm-hmm. And it's just so funny that nobody, everyone says Chris Jones, Mahomes. Chris Jones, I feel at least gets a little bit. Those corners have to be but I feel they're not. We're just doing the thing right now. We're trying to split them apart. I bet you Trent McDuffie has not had that thought in his head.
I know where Billy is going here, and please say it's true. Billy, go ahead.
Well, you guys want the defense to then come out and say we carry Patrick Mahomes. He's overrated. Is what you guys are hoping. An honest defense that's you know what, we can do this without Patrick Mahomes. People are saying he's the greatest of all time. We're carrying his ass. Dead weight.
Listen.
Him and Kelsey, off season.
For most of the year, though, the Kansas City defense was getting full credit and most of the credit because Patrick Mahomes, by his standards, had an off year. He did not have a great season.
This defense will be forgotten outside of Kansas City. Yes or no? Forgotten. I'm
Yes.
talking history
Yes.
will forget this defense and that it was great because Mahomes won the playoffs. He went on the road and he won. He won at the end of games. Mahomes.
It is Mahomes' Super Bowl. In the end, Mahomes is justifiably getting all the credit. He won the last
But
three games.
you're saying justifiably, and I'm stopping you with this is one of the great defenses ever. Again,
yes,
no defense has ever done this in a playoff run, going to win the championship against 4 of the top 6 offenses in a modernized sport when the difference between the 6th offense and the 16th one is huge. We knew who the best offenses were in that sport, and we saw all these guys ground to dust in the face of this defense, including the MVP of the league.
That defense gave up 10 points to the MVP of the league at home, the Ravens, who beat the 49ers 35-19.
I feel like this is similar to Brady, no? Brady had some good defenses, and do we think back on any of those as like defensive-led Super Bowls?
My point to you is, if I could take any time in history and show you a league MVP in his prime who got 49 of 50 first-place votes, that person never gets stopped in the playoffs, period. That person never gets stopped at home, period. That person, that kind of MVP, that kind of greatness, your defense has to match it with something that makes Lamar Jackson something to us that was unrecognizable. We did not recognize. That defense did it to him. What were we talking about? Mahomes after the game. He got him to 17 points.
And Taylor Swift.
Even though they didn't do anything in the second half.
It's funny, back in 86, the Giants, who had a great defense, went up against the Buffalo Bills, who had a great offense. The Giants won that game. The defense was not the story. It was, I'm telling you right now, it was Phil Simms and it was Bill Parcells.
Oh, but that's a historic defense that's remembered for all time.
Because they had the all-time
Bill
best.
Parcells is a defensive coach because he won with that quarterback. He became golden forever. That's an all-time defense.
It is, but when I think back to the 86 Super Bowl, it's not one of the first 3 things I think of. It is Simms, it's Parcells, it's Whitney Houston.
Can I just, because we've been doing a lot of talking about the GOAT.
She may have been later, though.
Greatest coach and all this, Belichick, Andy Reid, great defenses, all this stuff. Can we just, give a shout-out to Chuck Noll, who has 4 Super Bowls and has more than Andy Reid, and no one is talking about as being a great coach and a defensive coach?
A lot of people were defending Terry Bradshaw. As everyone rushed to talk about how Brady and Mahomes are the best.
There it is, the steel curtain. That's the guy. They had a great quarterback. Well, he wasn't so great. Had an average quarterback, but we remember the defense.
But you also remember the quarterback. Terry Bradshaw won 5 championships and wasn't that good.
We always talk about Joe Namath being the most overrated quarterback in the Hall of Fame. If you look at Terry Bradshaw's career statistics, not the rings,
don't do this.
The career statistics,
they're terrible.
Not real good.
Don't do this.
Not really good.
I'm going to do it.
Well, the Steelers won all the championships then because there was no free agency and they kept all their players.
That's right.
The game changed after that. It's a ridiculous glitch in the system. They didn't lose any of their players who had no real freedom.
I feel like we are going to look back 20 years from now and be like, there was that one Chiefs team that was carried by the defense.
That's my wonder, is if Mahomes if Mahomes carries it with these offensive juggernauts for the next several Super Bowls that he wins, and it's because there's 30 points per game being scored and it's all about the offense, I do wonder if we remember the one season where it was carried by the defense.
I'm never going to forget the way Andy Reid jumped on Chris Jones. Is going to just, that
you will
be
forget
the
that
thing
in a
that
month.
I'll be like, remember he jumped on Chris Jones and then awkwardly
Play
tried
it again.
to get up?
It's great. I love it every time. He gets pushed over. There it is.
Oh, we're celebrating.
So many jostles.
Oh, all right, I'm going to get up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that last hand right there. Careful.
Jesus.
Careful.
Come on. Respect the defense. Let's say it together. Respect the defense. Respect the defense.
Syllables.
All right.
Pablo Torre finds out is climbing up the charts, Stugotz. I see him on The Morning Joe. The Morning Joe after the Super Bowl couldn't wait to talk to their good friend Pablo Torre, their neighborhood sports friend. He came over and he made himself very comfortable with his Super Bowl observations. So what are the ones that you have that no one else has? 2 days later, as you come to this content trough, what are your football thoughts that are more interesting than anyone else's football thoughts?
So first of all, I have realized that my comfort zone is if there is at least one 70-year-old or older person in the vicinity somewhere on television. That's just where I shine, I think. I get to be younger. I get to be somehow presenting the internet in ways that they've never heard before. Shout out to Greg.
You're welcome.
The second thing is that I heard you guys as I was joining the Zoom talk about what you're going to remember or not. And my basic observation about all of this is that we're just trying to change the first sentence of our obituaries. We're never going to remember anything past that. We all get summarized and flattened into one thing. And Patrick Mahomes changed the first sentence of his obit. You know, we just don't give that grace. We don't. William Howard Taft.
Oh, Christ.
Is a president.
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
What?
And
Is that the
fat
get
one
the
that didn't fit in the
pretentious.
tub?
Yes,
There it is.
Get the pretentious music though. If he's gonna go the full name William Howard Taft, you have to be ready with the pretentious music. Come on, we got to be quicker than this, Billy. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Billy's typing.
Billy's learning.
We'll get to it. Keep it moving.
No,
don't keep it moving.
No, we're gonna stay right here. We're gonna stay right here.
Yeah, sink into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You were saying Taft said what?
So Billy actually got to the point I was trying to make in a beautiful way, because he said, is that the fat guy who got stuck in the bathtub? That is literally all we remember about this man, who was an actual president of the United States. And so everybody, when we're doing anything in life, just think about that. In decades, no one's going to remember the second sentence.
But Pablo,
They'll just know the first.
that's nihilistic. Yes, Conan O'Brien recently walked over a graveyard and just muttered, "When's the last time anyone talked about Calvin Coolidge?" Yes, nobody cares. After 100 years, everything dies. That's not what we're asking you.
No, that is. You're saying, what are my takes from the Super Bowl? My take is Patrick Mahomes edited the first sentence of his obit, because his obit is now going to be greatest quarterback who ever lived. And that is, I guess that's my take. That is the same as everyone's take.
It's not, though. Brady, but Stugotz is
But
here
you're using Taft, and that's how you make it different.
But Stugotz doesn't even agree with you. Like, what kind of take is that? Mahomes is the greatest when Stugotz will tell you Brady won twice as much and beat Mahomes.
Patrick, I mean, we're really going to do this where I have to argue that Patrick Mahomes is the guy who has only lost one game in regulation in the playoffs. The other two were overtimes in the AFC title games. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who has been to 4 Super Bowls in 6 years, has won 3 of them.
Right, lost to Tom Brady.
As a matter of just percentage, Stu, like, you're taking this snapshot of right now as if his career is done. I am trying to. I didn't realize Nick Wright left any stock for anyone else to buy, but if I can buy any more Patrick Mahomes stock, I would love that, if that's what I'm being offered right now.
Well, let's go here for a second, because, guys, get that video of Nick Wright showing up to work yesterday, because Nick Wright wins.
I was so jealous of him.
Oh, he wins all the things, and Fox, pay that man. He's underpaid, and he's going to break all the contracts, and he should when he's the face of your network, and here he is.
I didn't know he had a truck that he drove. This part is new to me.
Yes, he shows up to work in a red suit, Chiefs red, never a doubt, to make fun of those 2 guys he's carrying around because he's the star of the proceedings.
Love you, Wilds.
He is killing the media game. I wanted to talk to you about this. How are you? Are you noticing everything that's happening between McAfee and Simmons and Shannon Sharp and Mike Epps and J.J. Redick? Because J.J. Redick found a lane different from McAfee's to get some of the stuff he wanted.
Yes. Am I noticing that we need to develop a better shtick? I am. I'm realizing that my whole shtick has been thoughtful journalistic inquiries that are smart and funny, and I need to get myself into the driver's seat of a truck with my face on it. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the way I'm going to get there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want that too. I really do.
You deserve it.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you want a truck that brings you in that maybe?
Yes. And by the way, I can totally relate to what Pablo was saying about changing the narrative and rewriting your own obituary. My obituary now leads with lead singer of the Hee Haw 3.
Yep.
So I get what Pablo was saying.
Does it?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we willing to concede that?
100%.
Yeah.
Pablo? Wait, Billy?
I was watching from home, and I could not have been more impressed with. I'm not kidding. It was deeply impressive.
Yes.
What Greg was doing. It's clearly, first sentence obit territory.
Thank you, Pablo. I think he means it.
You believe you've erased a 50-year journalism career with a week of drunken song?
Yeah, I wouldn't say erased. I would say sort of demoted or
Second
set
sentence.
aside.
What about Fins at 50?
Sentence, right.
Fins at 50?
Fins at 50 is
the word
right below my owning 2% of a racehorse.
The word that got edited into Greg's first sentence of his obit, Dan, was crooner. That word needs to be there. It could be other stuff too, but the word crooner now officially has to be in the first sentence.
Crooner,
Greg Cote's obit.
I like the way Pablo thinks. This guy is so. Pablo finds out my favorite podcast. Now I know why. This guy,
Is it your favorite?
Second favorite other than the Greg Cote show.
Right. What was the last episode?
Chris,
about?
how many has he heard? Chris, how many has he heard? Has he listened? Does he know how to download? Pablo Torre finds out. Yes or no?
Do.
I would take the under.
No, I click on Spotify.
Yep. Boom.
I search.
What's your favorite episode?
Tell us one episode that you like.
Or the last
so
one.
many good ones.
The last one.
I'm not going to take a quiz.
There it is.
Yeah, exactly
Okay,
right.
seriously, I'm not going to take a quiz. Trust me on that.
I'm not going to ask any follow-up questions.
Thank you.
I'm just going to take it at face value. Why are you guys trying to fact-check compliments?
Seriously.
What I don't inquire about journalistically is compliments. I will take all of the compliments.
Because it's
no background
insincere.
check.
No, it's very sincere.
Disagree.
I particularly love the podcast he did where he had me singing on his podcast.
What was that episode about?
It was like a Christmas episode or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It
been
was
a while.
exactly that kind of thing, actually.
Been a couple of months.
Whether Greg means it sincerely or not, if Pablo's joy is sincere, then who's to say Greg's comment isn't?
Correct. Billy's nailed it.
Now I feel sad. Billy coming to my assistance there did make me feel a little bit sad.
Pablo's right.
Can you tell me as quickly as you can your most fascinating thoughts on Joel Embiid? Because I thought we were headed toward this being the story of his lifetime. It's an amazing achievement that he happens to be physically like 5 players ever. They just all happen to play against him.
Yes, he was having, I just want this to be recorded for posterity. When the rubble is dug out, they find this tape that verifies that Joel Embiid was having the greatest season in NBA history until the thing that happened to him, that always happens to him, happened to him. And the first sentence of the obit lends this thing that I'm trying to now brand as, I guess, my way of talking about sports. Joel's is heartbreaking. He is everything that Victor Wembanyama is supposed to become. Guy who's gained weight, who can shoot threes, who can play defense, who can shift the game whenever he steps on the floor. All of that was true as of this season, as of this regular season. But because the human body is, in his case, a deeply frail and deeply unreliable meat sack that betrays him whenever good things happen, the first sentence of his obit is going to be that this man, whose entire career was supposed to save the city of Philadelphia, became a metaphor for why that city cannot have nice things. And that to me sucks, man. I just want him to be, on the floor, just doing cool things. And he's become a metaphor for the process in ways that are legitimately painful to me.
We have not talked yet about Wembanyama last night anywhere on the show. Make what you will of these numbers, because 10 blocks. He's now doing the triple-double with blocks. He's not playing that many minutes. He's 10 of 14 from the field. And you make what of him distorting basketball that way?
It's just hard not to see him through the lens of injury. Right? That's the Embiid thing has made me like a wounded rescue animal where I don't trust this stuff because these people don't make sense, Dan. There's something to the idea of like the aliens are among us and they're dominating the game and everything's different now and eat it, Bob Cousy. Somewhere, Bob Cousy is thinking to himself, that's why they don't make people that big. And so I hope we get more of this. It's ridiculous. I hope he gets to be as good one day as Joel Embiid has been before he got hurt. But every second of these people's careers turns out to be a fleeting gift, a gift that we should appreciate because it's miraculous that they're even doing it right now.
If I may here, Pablo, when you say a precious gift and when Nick Wright dominates the game by having the controversial stands of I'm pro LeBron James and I am
it's an incredible scam.
Pro Patrick Mahomes. It is, isn't it? Right? But the thing that I would say to you, here's the best part of the scam to me, Pablo. I think we all watched the Super Bowl yesterday. I don't know how many people take inventory of this. Sunday, excuse me.
Vegas.
Thank you, Stugotz. Yes, Vegas. Mm-hmm. That the San Francisco 49ers have gone longer without winning a Super Bowl than the Dallas Cowboys. That the Miami Dolphins go an entire quarter century without being able to win a playoff game. That it's not just that Mahomes wins, it's that the way that we talk about sports these days forgets how hard it's is to win. Like
well, not for Patrick, though.
But the 49ers haven't won a title since 95. The Cowboys have won more recently, and we've been laughing at them for 25 years. Like, do you get how hard it is to do what Mahomes has just done?
No, the distortion of Patrick Mahomes is that he has turned the most random game into one that we can take now for granted, seemingly. That's the best comparison to Brady, right? Is that look, my take on football fundamentally is that the ball is oblong. What does this mean? It means that it's meant to bounce in unpredictable ways that you cannot possibly control. It's meant to break your heart if you're a Dolphins fan or certainly a Cowboys fan. And Patrick Mahomes has been so good that he is distorting this. He's distorting the complexity of football by making it feel very simple. And that, again, first paragraph, first sentence of the obit sort of thing that he's doing is he made football look easy. Football, the hardest, most random sport, he made predictable. And it makes all of us, honestly, it makes us just look stupid for letting Nick Wright somehow trumpet this as if he is a prophet as opposed to the one guy who got there first to say, he's just one of those Tom Brady characters once in a generation.
Pablo, thank you for being on with us. I do want
Look at
to.
that throne.
I know.
God.
It is
Golden.
amazing.
His hair, by the way, he's getting away with the things that Nick Wright is getting away with because of LeBron James and Patrick Mahomes. It's a staggering list, and his hair is foremost among it.
Thrift store Jesus. He is, look at him. He is a wizard who has hit hard times. And he's crushing. He is crushing the media
Doesn't
game.
look like hard times.
I honestly think that some of this emotion of the last 10 days or so, because Stugotz has been drinking and smoking and partying and having sex with Las Vegas, I think that Stugotz has missed, and saying same whenever it is that I want to hug him and talk about the emotional moments in this. Yeah. I think one of the things that Stugotz has missed in recent days that has made me laugh and has moved me, not unlike how I've been moved with Greg Cote here, is to watch Nick Wright toy with the media game and arrive at full clownhood where he wins the media game. He's got a following at FS1. Skip Bayless is on his way out. Cowherd is building his own empire so he can sell it to somebody else. And Nick Wright is the face of that network now with the controversial takes of Patrick Mahomes is great and LeBron James is great. Better than you guys think he is. Stugotz had the lane. When the quarterback wins, I celebrate the quarterback. That's football. That's easy. Except with the Chiefs. Except he went the other way. He had the same lane Nick Wright had, but Stugotz veered over to, I'm going to question the Chiefs. I'm going to question Mahomes. Yep. I'm going to have the worst takes in the history of this business.
I blame Josh Allen. I blame Lamar Jackson. I mean, win a home game against Mahomes. Jesus Christ.
And now you blame Kyle Shanahan.
Yes. Well, Dan, I blamed him earlier. I'll blame him again. The fact that we're going to let him skate one of the most egregious things we've ever seen in a Super Bowl. You were the head coach. You preach accountability, and you and your team did not know the rules to overtime in a Super Bowl. Dan, that's a fireable offense. It really is. Either he knew them and didn't communicate them to his team so they knew it, or he flatly did not know it. And if he didn't know those rules, I'm sorry. That is a terrible job by him. And this is a guy, as I said earlier, up 28-3 as an offensive coordinator, blew that lead. Up 10 against the Chiefs late in the fourth quarter or midway through the fourth quarter, lost that game. And now he doesn't know the rules to overtime, and we're calling him a genius, and you're the guy who's constantly preaching to your players, be prepared, know everything, know every situation. And you, the head coach, the genius head coach, did not know a simple rule. A rule.
This is such playing the result, dude. If they drive down and get a touchdown, everyone's praising him for taking it the way he did.
If he knew the rules, he would have went for it on fourth down. I don't think he did.
He did know the rule.
You cannot go for it on fourth down there.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. All they need is a field goal to beat you.
Billy, they had a plan. Mahomes said they score a touchdown. We're coming back down. We're scoring a touchdown, and we're going for two. The Chiefs had a plan. If you know Mahomes is getting the ball back, right, don't you rethink what you did? Like, I would go for a touchdown there if Mahomes is guaranteed to get the ball. I'm not certain he knew that.
You need points. You need any type of points at that point. Because then if you stop the Chiefs, then all they have to do is kick a field goal, and then you each get the ball again.
If you go for it, the Chiefs get the ball on the 8-yard line. Like, you have to go 90 yards. Like, you go for a touchdown there. You know Mahomes is going to come down and score.
You really think it's a fireable offense
To not know the rules?
They're
the quickest rehire in the history of coaching if he got fired.
An injury to his
They said
quarterback.
that about Belichick.
An injury to his quarterback last year is all that prevented him from being in back-to-back Super Bowls.
Billy, he didn't know the rules. The players are saying we didn't know the rules.
So a guy that could have taken you to back-to-back Super Bowls, you fire.
No, Eric
because
Armstead.
he doesn't know that they changed the playoff rules.
Eric Armstead and Juszczyk have said that the 49ers did not discuss their game plan. That doesn't mean that...
Whose job is that?
That doesn't mean Kyle Shanahan didn't have a plan.
The guy's got cameras in every coach's office. He's checking everyone out. He's a control freak. You know what? Put a camera in his office. Stop looking at your coaches. Stop worrying about what they're doing. Worry about what you have to do. And what you have to do is know the rules to the game.
This is an obvious take. He's not wrong.
He is wrong that he should be fired for that,
Yeah,
and
no,
that thinking that he would not get hired again. He's wrong about that.
The
It's the way you have to do it, though.
Flatly wrong about that.
You can't just get mad at a guy. You have to fire a guy.
Because I know how this goes.
I invented this game.
This is how this goes. He fires him. Then the 49ers call Belichick. And what? Because then he brings Belichick back into this. When every single team in the NFL said no thank you to Bill Belichick.
I'll take it one step further. Belichick and Brady.
Okay, so
because they have a great relationship.
Oh, well.
Billy, this is what Stugotz is going to do, and he's going to box you in at every turn.
I haven't been boxed in once yet. None of these made any sense.
No, this is the only only way that it makes sense.
Did you know the rules? No, it's not my job to know the rules.
This is coming from a guy who coached his daughter's lacrosse team, and they were #1 in the country 2 years in a row, but I did not know the rules at the end of one tournament where they were only playing a half. I thought we were playing a whole game. But I don't get paid millions of dollars. I'm not considered a genius. That was expected of me. We expect more of Kyle Shanahan. We do.
The place that
know the rules.
The place that he has you boxed in is just here, Billy. It's an easy rhetorical trick. Genius. Know the rules. It's yeah, he should know the rules. Now, I do believe he knew the rules, and I don't believe his hit in the head a lot of times, Juszczyk concussion fullback, necessarily knows all of the rules, and Foxworth has said, lie in that spot. Just lie so your coach doesn't have to deal with the idiocy of Stugotz attacking when, look, Stugotz, I want to just show you this clip of Peter King and Andy Reid talking about the end of the game. It was the last play of the game, and we think this sport is easy, and we think we know more than these coaches. Just listen to him explain to Peter King. By the way, Peter King, 50 years doing this and asking the most remedial of questions because this is all complicated that we think is easy, and you idiot. Know the rules, Shanahan. Watch this at the end of – this was the last play of the game.
Tiger 12. So that puts McCall in. And 2 tight ends, 1 running back.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry Wright, one-way play. We don't have a lot of one-way plays, but this is it.
Yeah.
And it's gun, trips right bunch, F shuttle.
Okay.
And that gives you a little corn dog with
let me ask you this: what is the part of that play that denotes the motion?
The shuttle, X shuttle.
Okay, shuttle. All right.
I feel like I'm watching
dog, mustard, and ketchup.
I feel like I'm watching Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting look at the mathematical board, but at the end, Andy Reid just throws some mustard and some ketchup on it, and you realize that he's not speaking Mandarin, that I don't understand anything he's saying. It's just a corn dog with some mustard and some ketchup, and now, Peter, clearly that's your language, just like it's mine. And Peter's like, what? Why? I've been covering football for 50 years. Why?
I don't like that Stugotz put me in a position to be defending Kyle Shanahan.
That was weird.
It's so strange. Because I don't think he's a genius either.
Okay, good.
Win some games.
Just say thank you.
Yeah, but you took it too far.
You're back.
You took it too far with the firing.
Here's the thing, though. Why are we putting it all on Shanahan? He's got a staff of 30 people, including quality control coaches who are supposed to be covering all of the smallest details.
Guys, they knew the rules.
Okay.
There was a couple guys that were like, maybe we didn't have a full meeting, but like the coaches knew the rules.
And my point is, even if they didn't, it's not all on the head coach.
Yes, it is.
Well, no, there should be people in his ear going, hey, by the way, so-and-so and such, and we need to maybe consider running this because they get the ball back or
so-and-so and such and
such.
And
he and haw. So-and-so and such and he and haw.
He doesn't know his players' names.
I mean, there seemed to
that
be
kind of thing.
There was confusion. There was definitely confusion. It may have happened just like that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He shouldn't have said such and such. He should have given more detail.
Right. But somebody's got to be in his ear saying, look at here. You know,
They have to tell the coach to go over the overtime rules with the players before overtime.
I mean,
you had 2 weeks.
do it.
You had
This is
2
a
weeks to
frustrating
prepare.
breakdown of this. This is very frustrating.
All right, well, Chris, have at it, because this is Stugotz is going. Look, the greatest of all the Stugotz's positions, all of them, is great game. Let me see if I can come over here and fire somebody.
Like I'm with Stugotz on. There is a debate on when you know you have Mahomes that's going to be getting the ball next. Maybe you do just go for the touchdown if you're that sure Mahomes is going to drive down the field. Like that's more of a debate on whether they should have gone for it than whether they knew the rules or not. Like I just feel like it's just we're dumbing it down too much here.
No,
and I'm
but
saying this.
It's such a good show, though. Stugotz just fire him. Doesn't know anything. Corn dog. He's got corn dog breath. He smells like Vegas for 10 days. Shanahan doesn't know the rules. I would out corn dog him with more ketchup and more mustard if they gave me the playbook.
My kids asked me the rule, and I said if they score a touchdown here, game over.
That's the greatest part. What percentage of our audience knew the exact rules?
I was panicking until Romo with like 9 seconds left was like, guys, the game's not over here. I was like, whoo.
Wait, but Romo didn't know the rules.
Yes,
Someone
he
has seen
did.
No,
What
he
are
did
you
not.
doing?
He kept saying this is a play.
Explained
No,
it.
he
didn't
said
know
play
the
for the
rules.
season.
He said play on,
Well, he
on
said that
third
the whole
down.
game.
No one knew it.
On third down, he said if they score here, it's the Super Bowl, which it was not the case.
Romo
With the
literally
49ers.
explained it to us. And
After
you guys
he got
saying
it wrong.
He got it
5
wrong
times.
so many
He was
times.
saying
Producers helped him out.
You couldn't trust him. He got it wrong so many
Lucy,
times.
Lucy, can you? I just like some assistance from you on the following, because I do find great. The ratings better than ever on football. Monster ratings, more successful than ever. Amazing. Taylor Swift now has. They have fans that are girls and women because football wins. Football always wins. However, last year, no one seemed to care that there should have been a giant turf controversy, and the results were decided by no one being able to stand up on the field, slipping and sliding all over the place. And this year ends with, and let's be honest about this, this is funny as a way of measurement, most people listening to this did not know the rules at the end.
What is the question you were asking?
And now they're crushing the coach, even though they didn't know the rules. I
I
get it.
think about
Shut
no
up.
women who like football before this or
The
something.
question I'm asking you is, do you not find it amazing that our most amazing analyzed sport, that at the end it would come down to one time the guys couldn't stand up on the field, and the second time we don't know the rules at the end?
Football is objectively a very stupid sport, so I feel like that makes total sense. The way I view football is in the sense of we have the most athletic players out there just like fighting to the death, and it usually comes down to the least athletic guy on the field, the kicker. That's football summed up. So yeah, things are going to be weird. The turf's not going to work. People aren't going to know the rules. I didn't know the rules. Taylor had to look them up and tell me. Everything's okay. I just want to say I hate the vibes in here right now. Everybody's yelling. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm having a bad time.
If you think about this, the only reason the rules changed at all is because of Mahomes.
Yes.
Because against
Yelling
the Bills,
again.
he scored
Didn't
too
even
fast.
listen to me.
The Bills didn't get the
Did
ball.
Shanahan miss that game? I mean,
Why am I here?
The vibes are bad?
Chris,
Vibes are terrible.
Chris, he's quoted as saying, it's not something we talked about. It's not something we prepared for. It's not something we have experience with. And I took the ball first because I wanted it third.
Lucy, do you want
What?
Do you want to play with Greg
What?
Cote? Would you prefer? The vibes were good when we were
Can
just
you
talking
send me to
about
the penalty box?
that bad, huh?
Whoa.
Vibes are bad.
Well,
I
how
need
do-
a breather.
How do we set? How about this? How about all the vibes? The rest of us go to the penalty box, and you just sit here and just clean out the vibes. Can you clean them out?
I love that. Everybody go.
Everybody.
And the woman stays to clean.
There was no third drive. I'm out of here.
I think men need to work on their emotions and how they handle things. They're so dramatic. This is just, there's no need to yell. Everything's over. Greg, are you just going to stay? Oh, you're just going to stay. You're not going to go. Okay, Greg is leaving. It's just me here now, and I finally feel safe. This is how the Dan Le Batard Show should be. Welcome to the Lucy Rodin Show with Stugotz and no one else. I'm done.
It's been a very chaotic day, okay? Greg Cote came in here, and he basically fouled up our plans. We had a plan in which we were going to talk in the local hour about the Marlins losing Jorge Soler, one of their big home run hitters.
Yep.
The Marlins now, their farm system is a mess. Now they've lost their big home run hitter, and they're falling woefully behind in the finances game. Derek Jeter really wrecked everything here. Like, it is a disaster with the Marlins.
He did build up the farm system
No, he
before he
didn't.
left.
No, he ended up kind of destroying the farm system. They built it up in terms of there were top prospects, but then he and Gary Denbo had no ability to develop those prospects, and then ended up moving the wrong prospects in exchange for major leaguers, spent money on guys like Aviseo Garcia, and now they're in a position where they have a bottom
it's one of the
Feels
worst.
like buck passing.
Chris Cote.
No, it's what happened.
Chris Cote. They are, if not the Angels, they're the worst farm system. They've got one prospect, Meyer, in the top 100, and he's in the 90s. They don't have anything.
Although he's really good.
Yeah, and they don't have anything, and they're now behind in the division.
In fairness, they brought up Yuri Perez, who would have been on that list.
So. And that's important. Correct. And Max Meyer ultimately will be on this big league squad, and he's a guy that's kind of a weird X factor. He was a 3rd overall pick.
But we were going to figure out a way for Lucy to come in and get involved with Marlins talk, and I asked her, how do we get you involved?
With a gun.
And so we had, that's right, we had fake guns that we were going to use, even though that's probably not, safe anymore.
Nerf guns, you wanted
Nerf
to
guns. Let's make that important.
Yeah. Right. But then we did a fire marshal an air marshal segment, Dan. So where to use the prop guns?
Well, but here's the problem we
tell
have.
you something.
Why is she here?
That was Fire Marshal Bill, actually.
It sounded like Jennifer
It
Coolidge.
did sound like Jennifer Coolidge.
Let me tell you something.
It wasn't, but it wasn't Fire Marshal Bill. It was
Brill.
It was.
Anyways, back to the show.
It was clearly not.
Can we do Fire Marshal as Jennifer Coolidge?
Yes, I mean.
Let me tell you something. It's a good show.
All right, back to you guys.
All right. So anyway, what Lucy was trying to do is clear the vibes in the room, because today's show has had a lot of emotion. Greg Cote came in and just was really in love with the smell of his own farts, and should have been
in love with the smell of his farts? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Bad 2 segments, though. Yeah. Bad energy the last 2 segments.
Don't love that analogy.
Because it hasn't been about him. And Greg Cote is the energy of Tuesdays. And so, please, Lucy, can you clear the room? Can you clear the vibes of the room, please?
So I have some incense here.
Ooh, smells delightful.
It smells really nice. Can't light it on fire. I wasn't allowed to do that, so that's a little bit upsetting. I was going to have us do breathing exercises, but then I remembered we're an audio medium and video, but for the audio, that would really suck if we just sat there and just breathed together. Well,
I don't know.
But if you guide us through it, then the audience can do it as well.
Yes, we can do.
Okay.
I've gotten great benefits from doing breathing exercises in the morning, stilling the mind. I don't think it's good audio. I wouldn't broadcast it.
Same.
And if you're driving, keep your eyes open.
But the last 2 segments weren't really good audio either, so.
They were bad, and I was overwhelmed. So I want everyone to take a deep breath in, hold it for 2 seconds,
Greg can't
and
do
let
that.
it out. All right, do that again. Deep breath in and out. Now this time, I want to hear your breath when it comes out.
Your
Your
voice is soothing.
Thank you. I do yoga with Adrienne videos. She's taught me everything I know. Oh, she's delightful. Oh, she is the best yoga YouTuber. I'll send you her videos. So I want everyone to breathe in.
Eyes open or closed?
Close, but let it out loud this time, yeah, really hear your breath. That's gonna
Pardon me.
Okay.
Too much
Try
breathing.
not to do that. So in
Too much breathing.
and out. But really hear the breath. That's gonna get all the bad vibes out.
Less
All right,
fat,
one
guys.
more time. In and out.
Thought there was a 3rd possession.
All right, how are we feeling? Better?
Centered.
Centered? Does anyone want to yell right now?
You can't fire Shanahan.
Oh my God, Dan.
You can't fire
Trying
him.
to do something.
Learn the rules.
No, keep it going. No,
All right,
hold on. We need more
everyone
breathing.
breathe in
Do it in the Super Bowl.
and out.
He never does.
What do you mean do it in the Super Bowl?
Breathe in
Hasn't yet.
He has it.
and out. And if you're talking, shut up. Breathe in and out.
He's had 3 double-digit leads in the Super Bowl.
All right, more breathing.
Right. He
Keep
chokes in the Super Bowl.
breathing. Just remember, Dan, Stu, I control your microphone, so I can turn them off whenever I want.
If you're
And
good
out.
enough to lead by double digits in the Super Bowl, you're good enough to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Unless you're not.
Yoga with Adrienne doesn't have to deal with
4
this.
different leads.
3 different leads.
Blew them all.
3 different leads.
If you're
I
going
think
to
it was
talk,
4.
use your whisper voice.
Semantics.
It's not
Ow.
semantics. What do you mean?
It was 3, you're right.
It was 3. It wasn't 4. 3 or 4.
This isn't working at all.
I feel stoned.
Now let's. That's good. That's what
That's
we
good.
want.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
That's what we're going
All
for.
right, everyone, we're going to stop the breathing exercises. I want you to
Well,
lift
keep
your
breathing,
arms
though.
up. Yeah, keep breathing.
Yeah.
But lift your arms up over your head.
Oh.
Mountain pose. And bring it down to your third eye. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe in. And out. Now drop it down to your heart. And remember that we love each other and we want to be nice. And out. All right, arms back up. Breathe in as you put your arms up.
Who did Adrian want to win the Super Bowl?
I don't know. She's from Austin, so I don't think that really pertains to anything. And drop it down to your third eye and breathe out. All right, hold this for 2 breaths. Dan, that's your heart, not your third eye. Now drop it down to your heart. How are we feeling? What are the vibes now?
Bit of a yoga bossy
feel
pants.
great.
Now
Bit of a
release your
bossy
arms.
pants.
Stu, you're not really good at this. You have to move a little graceful.
Okay,
So
graceful.
yeah, put your arms up higher though. You want a little
higher?
stretch.
Your third eye.
You think Shanahan wishes he had Tom Brady?
I think he wishes he was in this yoga class right now. Now drop it down to your heart. And release. Now shake it out. Shake all the bad vibes out. Everybody move your arms a little bit. Do we feel good? Do we feel great?
I do feel legitimately
Do we want to
better.
argue with each other anymore?
I want to celebrate Hee Haw 3.
Yay!
Aw, yay.
Everyone,
Yay.
you did so amazing. I'm so proud of you. And honestly, I
Thank
feel
you.
so much better.
All right. So, Greg, let's celebrate you here before we get out of here.
Why not?
You have been ebullient for a full week.
Yeah.
Chris,
Except
feel
those 2
ethereal.
segments where we didn't talk about him. Yeah.
Chris,
Right.
legitimately, the happiest you have ever seen your father.
It's my daughter being born and then being a part of the Hee Haw 3, I would say, are the top 2.
Yeah, not necessarily in that order. No,
Whoa.
I'm kidding.
Are you?
Sort of.
He's not.
I don't think you are.
Do you love the birth of your grandkids more than your actual kids? Like, is that a bigger day for you?
Oh, boy, that's a tough question.
That's what they pay me for.
I know. I don't want to take
Pinned
a
you
quiz.
down. I don't want to take a quiz.
No, that's it's so different, that kind of thing. Love them all.
No, he
I love love.
Loves his granddaughter more.
Yeah, I love love. That kind of thing. And
He's the co-host of All the Smoke. We have told you before, proud to be in business with All the Smoke Productions. We're starting this DraftKings network for everybody, and he and Steven Jackson are 2 of the first, along with McAfee and some of these other businessmen, who have recognized a lane that's specific for them where they can make content and have a second career after their playing days. So I'm proud of a lot of the stuff they're making. Bully Ball with Rachel Nichols and Boogie Cousins, Taking in the Truth, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, and you can hear him with Steven Jackson interviewing Keyshawn Johnson, Rod Strickland, Snoop Dogg here. I don't know. The last time I saw you, you were excited about one of these that wasn't even on here. It was 3 hours with somebody. I won't mention it, but what else do you have coming up here, Matt? Because you guys have been doing a lot of these, and they're very popular.
We got you coming up this Thursday. We're dropping your episode. So in 2 days, we'll have your episode up. But, as you mentioned, just really excited to get the process going. The responsibility of and the blessing to be able to create content for DraftKings and being able to partner with Meadowlark and, just kind of see where it goes. I'm really excited. We obviously got a chance to sit down in New York with each other a few weeks ago and really kind of fellowship and get to know each other better. And it made the partnership to me even stronger. So definitely excited to get the ball rolling in 2024.
Was that the episode you were thinking he was excited
I
to
was
promote?
not. No, he caught me off guard. It sounded like I was leading him to that. That was not the one I was talking about.
I got 3 hours with you,
no,
huh?
It's not the one. I was talking about someone else. But how did it go?
That's funny.
How did it go with Keyshawn? That's the latest one, right?
Keyshawn was good. Keyshawn has a great energy and obviously has tremendous stories from his playing days to his draft party to really his transition into media, which he's been doing for a long time and doing very successfully. So, Keyshawn was a great interview. Got a chance to go do his show about a week and a half ago. So, yeah, the ball keeps rolling. We continuing to drop episodes that people are enjoying. And I'm definitely excited for people to see your episode, Dan, because obviously, with all due respect, I understand what you're about and your platform and your audience, but I don't know if our audience does. And I think we had such just a deep, interesting, heartfelt, cool conversation with you. So I'm always excited about kind of that crossover, if you can call it that, kind of into our world. So definitely excited about, dropping your episode in a few days and see the response we get.
Without over-explaining, I need to tell you that Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, one of the many reasons I admire them is because they managed in that league for 15-plus years, Stugotz, to fit into every environment, always being their most authentic self, always being a great teammate. And so it's the media brand that they're building now, and people are going to be comfortable sitting next to them. Also, I want to put this in front of you, Matt, because I know you're competitive and I know you're a businessman. Shannon Sharpe has arrived in the space very loudly and very well, and he is exceptional at doing what he's doing. And now it is elevated to where he is fighting Mike Epps because of something that Cat Williams said on the podcast. And so I want to play this sound for the audience and for Matt Barnes and get his take on this.
Mention my name again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put the DMs. And I don't like doing this.
Yeah.
But you're lying. See, and I don't care about all that other stuff. You can say I'm gay and you can say I don't care about that because I won't chase a lie, but I won't let you lie on my name.
Yeah.
Now you can say all that other stuff. I can deal with that. I don't look, and I want somebody to send it to you. And I've been seeing it in the chat.
Yeah.
Y'all know who I'm talking about.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm with you.
Say my name again, and I'm gonna release the DMs because you're lying.
Yeah.
You said I reached out to you to come on Club Shay Shay, and you a mofo lie. If him talking all that, when it wasn't them tight ass leather pants, trying to be funny, but I'm gonna see if you're about that.
Yeah.
Say my name again. Say your little joke, get your little laugh off, have fun, but just don't lie and said I said something when I didn't. And you know who you are, mofo. Yeah. I'm calling you a mofo. Now, when I see you, boy, I promise you, I'm going to pull up.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up, and I'm going to see if you about that. Because I'm about it with you.
Me too.
Wow. Ocho has a great gig.
Ocho does have a great gig. Real quick, Matt, I'll get your thoughts. I want all your thoughts, but here is Mike Epps, because you don't go at the comedians. You got to be careful going at the comedians. So here's Mike Epps coming back at him.
I know this grown man is not mad at me. So many people talk crazy about you. They was on Saturday Night Live talking about you, imitating you, but now you want to fight me? Now, I'm not going to lie. I did DM you to get on the show. But I DM'd you to get on the show because you brought my name up when you was sitting there with Cat. And you was trying to get him to talk crazy about me, but he didn't. Okay? Now, second of all, talking about pulling up on me. You're going to be an all-star. I'm going to be at the all-star in my hometown. And I'm going to see you. All right? And Ocho, you shut up and go get some eyebrows. You looking like a whole milk dud sitting there agitated. We watched the white boy kick your ass on TV. So you shut up. And Shay, you did look like Madea sitting there. You was looking zesty. I'm not saying you gay, but you was looking zesty. You look like Big Frida sitting there. You need to take them tight ass shirts off with the muscles. And that's it. Go check out my special.
There it is. There it is at the end. So what do you have for us there? There's a lot of ground to cover.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. I mean, first of all, definitely respect the lane that Shannon has created for himself and the attention he has drawn. And again, I want to say this without coming off the wrong way, because unfortunately, I don't look at anybody as competition, with all due respect, Dan. I feel like there's a lane for everyone, and everyone's created that lane, and I feel like there's plenty of money to come behind those lanes. But I feel like, obviously Shannon has taken off individually, and then him and Ocho have a great thing going on, but it's not necessarily our cup of tea, so to speak. It's a completely different lane, and you see now, obviously, the Cat Williams interview, I think, broke some kind of YouTube record for the most views. And I think that's great. I mean, that's a lane he's excelling in, a lane that he's getting notoriety in and getting money in. And that's great, but it's not necessarily what we are trying to do. We want to continue to kind of keep our lane, and not even that what they're doing is gossip, because I don't want to disrespect, again, what they're doing, but there's just a lot of different energy going on there, and people coming and talking their truths and telling their truths. And again, that's always great. Speak your mind. But again, that's not necessarily the lane we want to create, well, Matt, the lane we want to develop.
If I may interrupt you for a second, what you've created next to you and Steven is everyone is walking into something they know is authentic, and from the jump, they're comfortable. They're comfortable in your interview setting. You're not professional interviewers. You're trying to make them comfortable.
But Matt is saying they become uncomfortable when he starts doing that stuff.
Well, what's that stuff, though?
Gossip.
Okay, no, but it's...
Yeah.
Wait a minute, though, Matt. What Shannon Sharpe has now created, and this is not a small thing, is a place where black comics and black people feel like they can speak freely, even if it's tearing down others. Like there aren't there aren't a lot of avenues for that. There is value in that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm not even mad at that. Again, that's his lane, and he's the king of that lane right now. And I definitely respect that and wish him and his team, nothing but success. But to address the other side with Mike Epps is a good friend of me and Stack, and Stack got a chance to talk to him yesterday, and I was I heard what they were talking about, and it was funny, but to me, you just have to be careful. First of all, like you said, Dan, going at comedians, because comedians, they tell jokes for a living. They're going to make us laugh for a living, and all of us are cracking up at just what Mike was saying and how he promoted his show at the end. But you also got to be careful, when you're doing a lot of that tough talk, because, Shannon is going to Indiana and Indy for the All-Star game, and that's where Mike is from. You know what I mean? So to be making those kind of threats and talking about, I'm going to see you here, I'm going to see you there, and then you're going to this guy's hometown, that's not the smartest thing. So I hope, for the sake of all of us, because, people are fans of both of them, that they're able to have this conversation and kind of clear the air. But again, I think overall, I like what Shannon is doing. I like the lane he has created for himself and Ocho, and I wish those guys nothing but success.
Matt, let's talk about this part, though, because you were famously somebody not to be trifled with. So when you start talking this language, and they're friends of friends, and we're talking about Shannon Sharpe's step to the Memphis Grizzlies, like he shouldn't throw away what he has right now in order to fight Mike Epps. That would be pretty stupid.
Well, there's another part where you guys didn't show, but Mike says he doesn't fight these days. And he insinuated something else. And again, that's where, we can kind of laugh and joke about this. But, obviously pride plays a huge part, and ego plays a huge part, and all this kind of stuff that we kind of see. These conversations used to take place face to face or, through a friend. But now these type of conversations are done on social media, where people can add gasoline to the fire and hype it up and be a hype man the same way Ocho was being, but just kind of on a different level. So again, I hope cooler heads prevail from that standpoint, because, Mike is a great comic. Shannon is great as what he's doing, and both guys are excelling in their lane. And I hope that, there can come some, I'm almost positive that they're going to be able to talk it out. And, you'll see Mike Epps on Shannon's show soon, and they'll be laughing about it.
I want to play for you some sound from Club Shay Shay. Monique, well, not the sound from Club Shay Shay. Monique went on with Shannon Sharpe and said that while she loves Shaquille O'Neal, she would not listen to anything he says because he cannot keep a woman, because he is not someone who will open up to a woman. And Shaq was asked about this by Adam Lefko, and his response was a word salad that kind of denied it, but made it clear that he doesn't trust opening up to women.
Do you open up emotionally to women? And you said no. You shouldn't do that, or else they'll throw it back in your face. Shannon Sharpe brought it up to your good friend Monique, and Monique had this to say.
How do you take advice from a man who has no woman? And I love Shaq. But how do you take advice from my brother that has no one?
So she said, I love my baby. I love my brother Shaq. But who do you open up to? So she did disagree with you.
She used the word pillow talk. I don't pillow talk. She used the word Shaq doesn't have a woman. Really, Monique? Monique, really? But who do I open up to? Nobody. But then again, I'm not gonna be at home pillow talking, tell us in my ear. It's just something I deal with, and I deal with it my own way.
You do more than talk on that pillow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, exactly. But now again, the clip that went viral, this is just me.
Yeah.
You don't have to use my method. You ask me what I do, and I say no. But I like it because people can agree or disagree, but this is who I am, and I'm not going to change.
Yeah, you're not asking other people to do the same thing.
I'm just saying this is not nothing I do, because I'm taught to be a man's man.
Yeah.
If you got problems, deal with it. Don't put those problems on your wife and your kids. Deal with it, sucker.
I know a lot of men who speak that way, who just don't put anything on the woman, hide it as if she doesn't see through you because they're better and stronger than we are. Can you explain what you just saw there and the general distrust that can be found when you reach Shaquille O'Neal's level of superstardom?
I never got a chance to reach his level of superstardom, but obviously had my time in the league, and this is no laughing matter. But I mean, we get PTSD from our experiences in the league, man. We've had ups and downs, goods, bads, greats, uglies. So there is kind of a trust factor that comes with sharing our experience. We can't share with just anybody. I'm actually in counseling now, and funny enough, my fiance and I kind of got an argument recently because I had something really serious going on, but until I really had a plan for it, I didn't share it with her either, because I'm from the old school like Shaq. We deal, mighty is the shoulder that wears the crown. So, as a man, we do have to deal with a lot, and we do have to put up with a lot, and there's no crying, there's no making excuses, there's no poor me. It's get it done. And I think that's very common in the Black community. So, Shaq spoke a language that a lot of us former athletes and I think a lot of Black men in general speak, not really necessarily having the wherewithal or the knowledge to reach out and ask for help. And I'm not saying by any means Shaq needs help. I'm talking about me personally from a standpoint
it leaves you alone though, Matt. It leaves you alone.
Yes.
When she's criticizing, she loves him and she's saying he's got no woman, he's alone. And she loves him. Like she's not trying to rip him. She's saying, God, I want better. I want better for you. Be less alone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think Shaq, and again, I'm guessing Shaq has plenty of women. He just may not have a main one or a fiance or a wife, but Shaq has never had an issue getting women. I think, but what it comes down to is, again, having prior situations where he probably was comfortable enough to share blow up in his face. And I've had situations where I was comfortable enough to share in my past relationships where it did blow up in my face. So again, I see both sides. I see Monique's side, but I also understand Shaq's side because I've lived Shaq's side. So again, it's a lonely world out there sometimes when you get in a position to where we've been. But also, I would recommend, obviously, finding someone to be able to open up to, because we go through a lot. We have a lot on our plate, and it is really hard to carry that day in, day out, all by yourself. And Shaq says he has his ways of dealing with that he didn't necessarily share. I'm a big cannabis advocate, and that helps me with some. But then also, reaching out and having counseling and understanding childhood trauma and past trauma and how that affects the men we are today. So I love Shaq to death. That's one of my big brothers. Don't know Monique personally, but I've been a fan of her work, but definitely can relate to where Shaq is coming from when he talks about not really sharing with women because it can be thrown in your face.
Stugotz, I will tell you that I sat down for a couple of hours with Steven Jackson for Friday's South Beach
3
session.
hours.
Not 3 hours, just a couple of hours for the most recent South Beach session. And he talked about some of this stuff and told some of the most amazing stories that I have heard because he too has been hurt by women in a way that keeps a great many scars. And I think people will find that interesting. But before I get you out of here, Matt, I'm just curious because I do not know what happened here. You had a public incident this week that some people were videotaping you threatening to slap out of someone. I would not want for you to be threatening to slap out of me under any public or angry circumstances. What happened? Why? What happened here?
So what happened when we were at my kids' high school basketball game, and it was a championship, and my kids' team was picked to finish 8th out of 8, and somehow they found themselves in the championship against Harvard Westlake, who is a nationally ranked powerhouse. So I was yelling at the refs, Dan. I yelled at the refs my entire college career, my 15-year NBA career. I coach AAU in the summertime. I have high school boys, and I have a 5-year-old coming down the pipeline. So I'm going to be doing a lot of yelling at the refs. But this particular incident, this kid right here, and I will say my one mistake was putting my hand on his shoulder. A lot of people want to say I grabbed this kid or I did this. I literally put my hand on this kid's shoulder because he, it was almost like I was talking to my son. You know what I mean? He told me to sit my ass down. And I was just like, why do you feel comfortable enough to feel like you can tell a grown man to sit his ass down? So he and I had a little back and forth, and again, obviously admitting my faults to even touch him was wrong of me. But I want to make sure it's clear that the narrative of me is some guy that beats up people, and I want to make sure people know I didn't body slam this kid, I didn't choke slam him, I didn't do any of the sort. I literally put my hand on his shoulder like, it was like I was talking to one of my sons, and again, for that, touching him, I was wrong. But I just didn't like the disrespect that came with the entitlement, where they felt like they could say anything to me. Not only did that kid say some slick stuff to me, but there was a woman in the stands who actually, they caught a picture of flipping me off saying, "F you, bitch." And I'm just like, wow, like, you really feel that you could just say anything to me? And again, as you can see the video, I wasn't talking to their team. I wasn't talking to their players, their cheerleaders, their fans. I was talking to the refs. The foul calls were 25-9 in that game. So I was well within my right to be yelling at it. But, Dan, we live in a world now where perception is reality. And if the narrative fits, and, I am someone who has had a background of handling business, so again, I didn't want this to get blown out of proportion. I even hesitated speaking on it because it has died down. But I just want to, first of all, apologizing for touching this kid's shoulder. I should have never touched him. But I did want to know why he felt comfortable enough to tell me to sit my ass down. And then I also wanted to know why the lady in the stands felt comfortable enough to say "F you, bitch" to me. But again, I didn't get any of those answers.
Clearly, Matt,
and it kind of is what it is.
Clearly, Matt Barnes in the wrong here, an out of control menace filled with fury and
Right.
reputation.
Oh, already know.
Yeah.
Already know.
But 25-9, Matt. I mean, that's
That's ridiculous,
that's
right?
ridiculous.
I mean, you
It's nuts.
understand,
Yeah, it's
right?
ridiculous. Yeah, it's nuts.
You completely understand.
Matt, did you burp earlier?
Yes, there was a tremendous burp. There was somewhere in there, I was asking you a question. I heard someone burp, and I thought it was Greg Cote with Vegas.
Yeah, well.
But was it Greg Cote or was it Matt Barnes? There was a tremendous.
No, it wasn't me.
Oh.
I haven't ate nothing yet. So
All right,
there ain't
so it
nothing
was
in my
Greg Cote?
system to burp
Sorry.
up.
Somebody burped, man. It was the biggest burp in show history.
So that was your contribution to the Matt Barnes conversation.
It was a good burp, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burping it.
All the smoke productions on YouTube. We do want to mix our audiences, and you saw with tenor and tone there. I'm glad you did talk about it because there is a TMZ-ization of things, and now you have this reputation. The reputation that I would like to help you show people, you and Steven, more of your personality, because it is not limited.
Appreciate that.
You don't mind fighting in an alley if you have to, but
No,
we'd like
no.
it to not come to that.
Absolutely. Peace and love to everybody. So again, definitely could admit, Dan, I can definitely admit my fault and obviously put my hand on this kid's shoulder. But like you said, the dramatization and the narrative of the past played right into this situation, and I'm glad we got a chance to kind of cover it because again, people will run with someone hit me on, so you body slammed a kid at a high school game. I'm like,
You're out of
damn,
control.
That's how,
Yes, you're
that's
out of
how
control.
fast it
We all
it
saw
went,
it. We
so.
saw the video. You
Right,
body slammed him.
right,
It was
right,
obvious.
right.
You were aggressive. You were very aggressive.
Man.
We all watched it together.
Mhm.
Yes, quit being
Right.
such an asshole.
I've been kicked out of
Right.
lacrosse tournaments, Matt. I could do
Yes.
3 hours on it if you
25
want.
to 9 is a
I
lot.
hear you.
Thank you, Matt.
I hear you.
Good talking to you again, sir.
All right, guys, we'll talk soon.
See you, Matt.
One of my favorite parts of Vegas, outside of all the genuinely emotional stuff and the cool moments with my friends and coworkers, was when my dad, talking to Jeremy and Yeti, didn't understand what I meant and the joke with "fist me." He, with a serious face and with a serious tone, said to Jeremy and Yeti midway through that, "Christopher really needs to, does he know what, he needs to stop saying that. I don't think he realizes what he's saying. He didn't realize that,
It's just a fist bump.
That's exactly what
What did you think it meant?
What did you think it meant, Dad?
I'm not going to go into details.
He doesn't want to be quizzed.
I mean, there's a second meaning to that.
Please go on.
That is a little bit less,
What does it mean?
Like when you punch
What
someone
does
in
it
the
mean?
face,
It's-
you
it's
fist
all,
them?
all we know it to mean is that you fist
Yeah.
somebody. And
Yeah, there you go.
Fist me.
Like Dan and Stu just fisted each
You know,
other.
you're going to have to look that up because if you think I'm going to explain it in
well,
detail.
but we don't know, so we'd like for you to explain it
No.
to us.
We can always bleep it.
We have fist me T-shirts that are selling like hotcakes.
I bet they are.
What should I type in?
What should he put in Google to know what it is, what it means? We don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
Doug Fister?
There you go.
Greg, you see the room is confused. Does it have a sexual meaning
Yeah,
from another time?
Yeah, it has a sexual meaning.
From
yeah.
what? From the 40s, 50s,
I don't know.
60s?
I didn't make it up. I didn't
And what is
invent
this?
it.
What is this? Can someone look this up for me, please?
Little How's Your Uncle?
Little How's Your Uncle?
I don't know what how's your uncle
How's
means.
your uncle is when somebody somebody like sort of pokes you in the nether regions.
Okay, all right, you're in the neighborhood. You're getting close. Getting warm. No, I'm not going to go into details. Right. You could look it up. Everybody, you all are just trying to embarrass me. I didn't know that Christopher. Oh, Fist Me Tea. I like that. You can't buy that in the Greg Cote Show merch store, nor will you ever be able to.
Why wouldn't you? That's why it's funny. Look how cool your son looks there. This is great for LeBatardAF.com.
Okay.
This is one of our best sellers, is Chris Cote's face on Fist Me.
Wow. Hard to believe.
Why is that?
Just nothing you're giving us right now.
What?
But we don't know what you're talking about, Greg. Don't you understand?
Okay. I'm not going to go into detail on what it means. You're not going to get that out of me.
But can someone look it up for him? Is it so dirty that you're...
Someone look it up for me.
Would you like the specific definition?
Well, what
Maybe
means?
from Urban Dictionary?
From Urban Dictionary? Is it an expression from Urban Dictionary? Are you looking it up now? Greg, are you afraid of this being? You're afraid of this being not suitable for work?
Yes.
I don't know about this.
I just Googled a word.
Right.
And it comes up on Wikipedia. Okay?
Okay, that's not helpful.
Should we start breathing again? Or?
This is not how I wanted my yoga practice to
hold
go.
Hold on. Let's do this
I
again.
need yoga right now because I center myself after all this derailment.
Okay.
Don't love what my
Greg,
search history just
breathe
looks
in,
like now.
It's just company Wi-Fi. You're good.
Breathe out, and then explain to us what Fist Me means, because I don't know. And I've just been...
Nobody knows, Greg.
Nobody knows.
We're all...
May I quote Wikipedia?
We'd love you to.
Yes, please.
I think we're a little
And
scared
everyone
of
breathe
it.
in and out as he's doing
You
this.
have the bleep ready?
Yes, it'll be that nothing will get on air without it being.
I want everyone to go home later and do yoga to this.
Hold your breath here.
Fisting. Also known as fist
Release your breath.
handballing is a sexual activity that involves inserting one or more into someone's
Breathe out.
Please breathe in. Put your arms in the air.
and you know it.
Greg, what were the...
Breathe out.
Breathe in.
I feel less zen. Anyone can ask Greg questions here.
I did.
I'm proud of you. I'm waiting for everybody else.